It's time for the stream, everyone. I hope you're having a fantastic Halloween. We'll soon have everybody else voice live. I just decided to do this thing beforehand because I can, and Panda can't stop me. So, you know. He's making fun of my evil laugh, so I'm gonna do it again. Anyway. Alright, you dorks ready to go live? One of you doesn't look ready. Oh, no, there you go. Alright, cool. Alright, here we come. Everybody look at the screen. Ready? 3, 2, 1. I'm not dressed up.
I feel like I should have jumped off screen right when you said one. Just like dive off screen.
I'm constantly ready for you to do that so I can fake you out and just wait for you to come back.
Take that off my head real quick. Because that is requiring me to think a little bit too much about the way I'm sitting to maintain that staying on my head.
Yeah, sorry everybody. None of us dressed up at all. We didn't do anything at all special for Halloween. We're all here perfectly
I took a child
normal.
trick-or-treating. Caveat, it was my child. But that sounds really weird when I say I took a child trick-or-treating. It was my kid, at least.
I took several children who are trick-or-treating.
Head on, I believe.
Not suspicious.
No.
Yeah, we're all dressed completely normal. This is how we look all the time.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
There's nothing abnormal or Halloweeny about it. I'm sorry.
Probably about the same as you see us when we're running, Pathfinder and doing other stuff, so.
Yeah. But the music's spooky, at least.
The music is spooky.
I've got Dengar sleeves on a Pokemon deck sitting right next to me. Check it out. That's Halloween themed.
I was going to try to get either my fucking nerd cloak that I got forever ago at the medieval fair, but it's really gross because I haven't washed it in a long time. So it's just covered in dust. Or I was going to get my fucking martial arts headband, but I think I know where it is. It's in one of 4 places, and I had time to look in one, and it wasn't there. So I was like, well, too late.
I could do a headband.
I have like hockey sweaters somewhere. I've definitely got a Mets jersey somewhere, but yeah, no. There you go.
There,
now
I'm
Panda's dressed
Wow.
up. He's got a headband. Yeah, there you go. Now he's dressed up. He's got a headband.
Panda found a headband big enough to fit his actual head. That's crazy.
That is wild.
It may or may not be a hand wrap.
Oh, I was going to say it may or may not be like toilet paper or something ridiculous,
Right.
but
What people don't know is that's actually 700 yards of rope.
It is the entire 50-foot of silk rope that you get when you buy a Pathfinder's kit or whatever.
All right, Panda, the bit's up. You don't have to keep wearing your hair like that. You can kind of do whatever you want with it.
Yeah.
I'll take the braid out.
Just whatever's comfortable for you, bud.
Yeah.
I will take this off, but it might be loud soon.
Oh,
So you're
man.
gonna mute yourself before you finish talking? Well
Yeah,
done.
yeah, he is. He is indeed.
Make a it's like I tear my
You're like, I gotta mute it for the screams of agony that comes when I take my skin off. Hold on. Speaking of bear skin, I heard a funny expression today in a book I read, which was
I think
that
scooting to the left.
instead of count your chickens before they hatch, it was size the bear skin for your floor before you kill it, or something like that. And it was a World War I general that said this, and I was like, that is the weirdest way to say count your chickens before they hatch.
Yeah.
That's extra as fuck.
kind of rich ass man's.
An
Like, oh, this would be a great
English
area
general
for
in
a-
World War I. What do you mean? What kind of rich ass man? The richest
Yeah.
ass men.
I hope bears don't.
You know what
have
looked good
that.
in front of this fireplace? A bear skin rug.
So, I'm going to say something that no one's going to relate to except Dave, which is, so over the weekend, Francis Ngannou fought Tyson Fury in Francis Ngannou's first ever pro boxing match. He has never ever boxed before, but he is a former heavyweight UFC champion. and also just a very big, scary individual. Tyson Fury is the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. And Francis Ngannou fought him to a split decision that a lot of people think Francis won. And got the only knockdown of the fight and danced over the lineal heavyweight champion after he knocked him down. It's crazy. It's crazy as fuck. Yeah. We were 1 point away from the biggest upset in sports history. Like,
he got robbed.
An 0-0
and
boxer.
That's the other thing. We all agree that he got robbed. It wasn't even just like, oh, we were 1 point away. He could have made... No, he got robbed.
I'm refraining from calling it a robbery because it was a close fight.
It was a close
And I feel to be a robbery, it has to be a clear winner. Whereas it was close. It could have gone either way. But like, it's more like history got robbed of something really fucking awesome happening. But either way, the only reason I bring this up is because you guys talked about bears, and one of the funniest comments I saw was before the fight, somebody said that Francis was going to look like he got mauled by a bear. And then after the fight, that same person left a comment on their own comment that says, somebody help that fucking bear.
Also, like, Tyson Fury is like 6'9", 6'8",
yeah,
something like that.
He's 6'9", yeah.
And Ngannou's like 6'4", right?
Yep.
And they weigh the same, basically. It's wild.
Yeah, Fury outweighed him by only like 3 pounds.
Prince Ngannou's a big man, is the point. He's a big, scary man.
Yeah, he's a big, scary dude. But anyway, for those of you who don't give a shit about combat sports, including the topic of today's stream, let's talk about something else. Something stream-related, I guess. Whatever that is.
Made entirely by Wombats. Wombat Rugby. Watch it now on ESPN 11.
There is a rugby team called the Wombats.
I'm sure there is.
Surprised.
Oh, okay. Excuse me, rugby club. I said team. They're a club. Because, they wear sweaters in their club. They're not a team. It's different, whatever the word I want. Naming convention. There we go.
Went to play some Project Zomboid today, but the person whose server I'm playing on had an error of payment with the person that they're renting the server from or whatever to run the game. So it's down at the moment. I was like, oh,
of course.
Okay, it's interesting. I'm like, are the actual payments going to the server then? Like, is what I was like.
See, how far can I move this before my mic is like on camera? Pretty fucking far.
Nice.
Oh, it's not tightened.
Oh, there's more than one.
More than one what?
Wombat team?
Wombats Rugby Club. I only knew of the one. There's more than one.
Let me fix this mic really quick. Which is going to require...
One of the Wombats rugby clubs is in Manitoba, Canada, which I did not expect.
Manitoba?
Yeah, and they're out of Winnipeg. They're out of South Winnipeg.
I mean, yeah.
There's another one that is out of Austria. Not Australia. Austria.
Austria.
Yes.
All right.
Out of Wiener Neustadt. I probably pronounced that wrong, but...
Also, I think I fucked up my camera somehow.
What'd you say about my wiener? No,
my German's not great.
You Neustadt that wiener?
Oh, God. What did I do? Oh, no. It's no longer getting my good side. Good thing I don't have one of those.
I think every side's a good side.
I don't, but thank you.
Wow, they have one English player.
This particular angle is very
one South African player, and the rest of that squad is actually Austrian. That's wild. All right, I need to stop Googling rugby teams, clubs.
Oh God, it's so crooked. What? How did I do that? Nothing. I didn't even touch this fucking thing until maybe it was fine, and then I fucked it up when I thought it was not.
I see you.
You know what? We're just gonna leave it.
So you got positivity redeemed on you, Patrick.
Wait, why?
Ask the other person who's not me in this call.
Because you're being self-depreciating, and I want you to be
Dale
nice.
says-
You're in the call. That's not allowed. Go fuck yourself.
Hannah, drop out of the call real quick. Go. No, don't. It'll mess up the screens. Please don't.
I hovered over it. I was
Well, I
I'm
retracted my statement.
nice to my dog. I don't know, man.
that is true. I'll take it.
He's more than nice to his dog. He spoils the crap out of the dog.
He gives that dog
my dog
bananas.
has 3 beds, and he gets, he gets half of every banana I eat, and a lot of the carrots that I was eating. Which, I just
And he
moved
gets
the bag.
home cooked food.
He does get home cooked food now that he's no longer sick. And boy, was he losing his goddamn mind while I was cooking it. Like,
Oh boy, it's back. The McRib.
Harley, just come get this carrot.
If
I
you
can
gave
see you
Harley a
flailing.
McRib, his head would explode.
Yeah,
Harley,
that's a lot of head.
He's a big head
I
dog.
can see you freaking out under the blanket. Here's your carrot. There you go.
Big
There's
head
a good boy.
dog.
That's the nice thing about being at
Come
my
here.
parents now is every time I eat a banana, I get to eat 100% of that.
You
banana.
gotta get on
You eat the
camera.
whole banana.
You gotta get on camera
This
to get the
dog
carrot, buddy.
can smell bananas from like
He can sense
a
bananas.
state away.
About-
I swear.
about-
When you open those bananas,
There
man,
he
he
is.
knows.
There's the
There's
boy.
the boy.
There's the boy for the carrot.
Oh.
There you go. Good boy.
Good
But
boy.
yeah,
I gotta bribe him with food to get him on camera.
you'll do that thing where you'll be like to the
Serious.
outside. So you're like, it's safe to eat a banana while he's outside, and then he'll just come and be like, "Where's the banana? I know you haven't."
So yeah, I didn't. I think I told you about it, Dave. But yeah, I tested it. The last time we had bananas, he was in here like snoring under his blanket. So I came over to my computer and I turned on music and I turned the music way up and I turned on the ceiling fan and I closed the door and then I checked on him and closed it again and I looked under it to make sure he was still asleep and didn't get up because I closed the door. And I walked in the kitchen and I opened a banana. And about 10 seconds later, I hear his claws hit the hardwood in the room. And I was like, what even is that?
Yeah.
How do you know?
He just knows, man.
He just knows.
It's like he sends out a ping every like 10 seconds that just checks if a banana has been opened in like a 50-yard radius.
It's Harley's weird superpower is banana senses.
Yeah. It's silly. What? You need the blankie back? Here you go. Here you go. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. There you go. Alright. So, I think we were supposed to be working on classes today.
We were. Let me open my thing that
Trying
has
to
stuff about classes.
sit forward so that I'm trying to lean back and be comfy. But see, that's what I'm trying to avoid. Is the problem is I want to fix the camera a little bit more, but I don't want that boomer angle. But they like take all their profile pictures out where it's like way at the bottom and they're just like looking down at it. You're like, bro, I can see up your nose. What are you doing?
You got trim in there, my man. Like, come on.
Like, if your glasses are fucking with your vision of the phone, just lift them up. Don't do this number. Like, it's not. It ain't good. It's not a good look.
Yeah.
But anyway, God, it's so crooked. Maybe I'm crooked.
Maybe I'm the one that's crooked. Speaking of, I was gonna say
reach those.
boomers, but speaking of dumb camera things, so and old people in general, I guess my daughter and I went trick or treating today. We only went for like 45 minutes. This kid got like half a Walmart sack full of candy. We used another thing as a thing, but I had to transfer her stuff into a bag to give it to her to take home to her mom's house, and she got like half Walmart sack candy in like 45 minutes. She got about as much candy as I think I would have gotten at 10 or 11 years old, trumping the whole neighborhood for like 3 hours. And if we had trick-or-treated longer, it would have lasted so much. She already got a ton because it's one of those things where we went to people's houses and they were like, "Oh yeah, take like 3" when she's trying to be polite and take 1, or like at one lady's house, very nice older lady. My daughter's taking 1, and the lady was like, "Why don't you take more?" And my kid just looked like she didn't want to be hesitant or whatever. And this lady just grabbed a handful and shoved them in her bag, which is great. But also, I think part of it is that a lot of these people are our age now or slightly older than us, and they grew up loving Halloween. And they grew up doing this. And so they're like, yeah, dude, go. And like the amount of decorations, the amount of cool stuff we saw a kid dressed as a dragon, like a full like inflatable dragon, like how they do the T-Rex. He was doing that. That was awesome. Like, I love Halloween, but I love how much other people love Halloween too.
Yeah.
It is by far my favorite holiday.
We haven't had any here yet. And my parents bought like a value pack of full-size candy. And I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna have candy bars for weeks.
I bought a big candy. I say big. It was one of the medium big bags, so it's not like overflowingly large, but it's like 70 or 50 or 70 candy bars, whatever. And I just put them in a bowl and stuck them out front so that people wouldn't be ringing our doorbell while we're trying to do this stream. Like, just take the candy, kids. And there's probably going to be some left at the end of the night. That's the problem.
I remember last year. One of my coworker, my beloved Dan, who I worked with, brought his kids by, and then he's like, "Yeah, just take one." I was like, "Take a bunch. We haven't had anybody come by." Like, please.
Yeah, well, I think it was partially because the way the porch at our old place was like enclosed, so people from the street couldn't necessarily tell if our porch light was on, and like we were doing the trick or treating thing. Because our outside of that light, the garage light, would only turn on a timer, or like automatically, not on a timer. Would only turn on like when you walk by it on the sensor. And so people just didn't know if we had, our light on or not.
Yeah.
And so we didn't get as many as we could have. You didn't have people like my kid who was like, that reflection looks like their porch light's on. Let's go to that house. I'm like, no, that light is not on. That is the sun hitting the porch light. Get out of your mind, child.
I don't know if anybody's going to come to this neighborhood. Because one, it's kind of cold already, and the wind's blowing real hard.
It's pretty fucking cold.
Yeah. I feel sorry for him.
As a person wearing shorts in this weather outside, I had multiple people comment on that while I was walking around. Like, oh yeah, you don't want to get too cold. And I looked at my kid. She's in like a winter coat. And I'm like, no, she's fine. And then I realized they're talking to me. And I'm like, oh no, I'm fine. Like,
no, she's fine.
Don't worry about it.
Are you?
No. The answer is no.
I literally said to one very nice older lady, I was like, no, I'm just weird. Don't worry about it. And then walked off.
Okie doke. Well, classes.
Anyway.
What should we do?
Rangers.
To classes. I know that's Panda's choice. But we've said before. We've said before our kind of our thesis, if you will, on classes, theory, our idea. Our brain creation on classes involves basically archetypes revolving around different specialties on which attributes to use under the main core list of like Invoker, Exorcist, Soldier, Agent, Wanderer. Yep. Kind of mentioned last time breaking away from that a little bit further and just maybe trying to go even more unique or original with these classes into just stuff that sounds cool and isn't necessarily based on another class we've seen in a traditional TTRPG, right? Or just things we've seen in other, like, weirder TTRPGs. I started writing some little, like, blurb things for some class ideas. I don't know if I'm quite ready to share them yet, because it was just kind of a thing I was dicking around with. We'll see over the course of the stream. Maybe people really want that, but... I don't know. What do you think, Dave, about how we should go about creating these? Do you want to just kind of build from scratch and just go balls to the wall weird and see what cool shit pops out of it?
I mean, I think that is a good exercise to start with no matter what. If we just kind of run with what our minds have, and if we want to try and dial them in or tune them down to something more specific later, we can, as long as we conceptually go full out on what they can do. We can kind of do like what we did with the humors a little bit, which is we go full on explaining what we want them to do and what we feel like their abilities need to do. And then if we need to go back and change or tweak as we come up with the new humors to make stuff kind of like match what our idea is, then we can do that. If we want it to be where everybody has the subclasses like we originally kind of set out to do, after going through all the classes, then sure, we just go back through and we add the subclasses in. If not, we just stick with our big overarching like super class.
Yeah. I mean, I suspect we're going to end up with some subclasses either way, but you're right. We don't need them at the end of it.
Yeah, we definitely don't need to start off with those. I think we need to primarily focus on the superclass, and I think we just need to go hard on the idea of each superclass and what we totally want them to do. Because then, if we need to get more granular in what they do, that's where the subclasses come in, right? But the overall, yeah, exactly. The overall idea of what this class does is the superclass, and so why don't we just go hard into that?
I just realized my phone was not on Do Not Disturb. All right. Yeah, no, that's kind of what I was thinking anyway. So fuck it. I'd say that we do that. Yeah, of course we know, Ellie, you want the blurbs.
The blurbs.
All about that blurb. About that blurb.
Where did I even put that? I don't fucking know.
I need to.
I did those hours ago, and where did I put that? So I guess while I'm looking for that, I don't know. Maybe Dave described for the people a class concept or something that maybe you would like to play in this world.
Well, I think
or something you'd like to do, I guess, would be a better way to phrase
one of the things when we were first talking about this, one of my ideas was, and oh man, so I have spent the last week, I guess, listening to a book about World War One. It was a comprehensive single volume history of World War One, and one of the things that got me interested of building this level of tech was that we were going to stop like right prior to World War One tech, right? Mm-hmm. And part of that was how it still has enough variance for the individual to make a big difference, right? Once we got to like fully mechanized warfare, and really World War One was this. Once it changed to like World War One is the only war where artillery played the largest role of anything ever. And at that point, like individuals stopped mattering because you just shelled everything you could all day. They used so many shells. I wish I had the numbers off the top of my head, but it was like mind-blowing numbers of shells per day. And so you couldn't like do anything, but there was still room for these weird like what's this, that guy whose name is like Jack, who was storming trenches with a bow because he was out of his friggin' mind.
Right.
And it's like a real person who did that. He's out of his freaking mind. But and then you have people like Lawrence of Arabia, who I'm reading a book on right now, who basically helped start espionage and like insurrection, like help create insurrections in the like Middle East to help England win the war against the Ottomans. But like, so that concept, like those kind of people are like what I really wanted to play. So like kind of like where we have like the agent level, I think almost, where it's like a guy with a rifle who's running around, you know, stoking people up with the very much the face role that I like to play in a lot of ways, where I'm like convincing people to do my crazy stuff, but I've got like a rifle, but it's not like necessarily a regular rifle. It's like that weird war rifle where I've got like magic abilities through my rifle somehow. You know, I can shoot this rifle, but I can also have like, I have weird magic bullets. And so like that was part of my idea, is that I really wanted to be able to, especially when we started talking about humors, is I wanted to be able to basically use humors as like to infuse my ammunition with special abilities. So then you've got like this guy who's sneaking around and doing cool sniper stuff, but it's not just shooting people with a bullet, it's shooting people with a fire bullet that explodes. That's awesome.
Yeah. Damn straight. Okay.
Yeah, I want to be Lawrence of Shard instead of Lawrence of Arabia. Riding a camel. I don't know.
Lawrence of Riftreach.
Yeah, there you go. Lawrence of Riftreach. Exactly. Like that's the kind of character I think that I first really envisioned playing when we started fleshing out this setting.
That makes perfect sense to me. Okay, so because Ellie requested it, and she's one of our VIPs, I will read one of the blurbs.
This is what you get if you're a patron who comes to every stream.
You get special treatment. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
We do play favorites.
Oh,
We
absolutely.
do indeed play
And we
favorites,
will not
100%.
apologize for it.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Okay. I don't think I reread any of these, so bear with me. But also, these are very long blurbs because I was just freeforming. It was midnight again, and the sound of bells woke Clyde from his fitful nightly stasis. They jingled merrily in the torrid hillside breeze, signaling him that Gorman was back. He rose and rubbed his eyes, bending his great, lanky form to sit on the edge of his bed. He searched his nightstand one-handed and pulled his glasses onto drooping eyes and blinked away the darkness as shoes, gloves, and jacket were soon donned. His lantern flickers against moonless night air as Clyde opens the back door to his shack. The brush and bustle of the wind lift to a howl not unlike a greeting. Gorman's sallow eyes stare back at him from the wispy tufts of grass, the hunched lupine form looming with a baleful stoop and hollow expression. Long wet hair darker than the night around it hung in kelp-like clumps from its seated quadrupedal form. Gorman raised its head in acknowledgement, and Clyde chuckled. He grabbed his revolver and travel pack from the kitchen floor, loaded the gun, and walked outside. Carefully, he began to untangle the ring of bells from Gorman's neck, having to stand on his toes to wrangle the 7-foot beast's form appropriately. "Good boy," said Clyde in a raspy drawl. He drew a scalpel from his pack and opened Gorman's chest to access the little mechanical hatch there. "Let's get you fed." He removed 6 empty vials and replaced the humors there, noting the sanguine vial was partially full. Noting the sanguine vial was partially full. Gorman had found a snack, it seemed. The hatch shut, and the laceration sewn shut. Gorman stretched and shook himself energetically. Clyde gave the beast's equine rump a pat as it went by, following to fetch his horse. It was time to alert the others. They had a scent to follow. That's the blurb. And basically the idea there was just a guy who had made some fucking crazy wolf horse monster.
Yeah.
He uses it to hunt down whatever. Cell says, "Careful, a Patreon tier may have to be opened just for you to read books." I mean,
That's
sure.
what this podcast is for. No. Listen,
Hey,
if
it's
you
JD,
sign up,
our
I'll
favorite
do a
lurker.
book club. Yay! Yeah, I'll do
Book
a
clubs are
book
fun.
club.
Book clubs are absolutely fun.
I like books. I read
Oh,
a
geez.
lot of books.
Yeah. So it looks like Panda's got to go catch a dog.
It's
Please don't be
small
a
and fluffy. It won't run far.
But yeah, I don't know. That was just kind of the idea behind that. I didn't really flesh it out a whole bunch. Do you get anything from that, Dave?
I mean, like you said, big cool monster thing. I like the inclusion of kind of how humors were spliced in there to, really hammer home the, like, I don't want to say ubiquity, that's the wrong word, but the importance, I guess. Like, they show up, they're in everybody's life. Like, it's an important part, right? It is something that you need. And I think my left eye won't stop twitching. I think that
I've had that today too.
yeah, it's been today and all day yesterday. I don't know why. Anyways, I think that that really kind of is one of those small, like, blurred things you can really build something around, like literally flesh out. You know how I think we've both talked about this when we come up with characters a lot of times. What we do is we start with something like that, and then we hone down into what classes are available or what abilities exist that we can do that. But in this case, we get to do it almost the opposite way, but the same direction, where we get to start with a blurb and we get to build the cool stuff around the blurb instead of trying to fit the cool stuff into already existing stuff. Instead of fitting the blurb into already
making the
existing
game.
stuff. Yeah. So we get to do that from the top down. And again, I can't stress this enough, as this was one of the big things that I remember when we first started talking about, is we get to build it in a logical progression. And I think that's what's really important, is we get to come up with an idea and a concept and build out in a progression that makes sense. We don't have to go in the like D&D or Pathfinder book where the order that they have you go in for building a character doesn't make sense. If you're trying to build it following this step-by-step guideline, you're going, to me, all over the place in how I design a character in my mind. And so I think that's
guides, character creation guides are like outside of the book a lot of times, where it's like, go here, go here, go here, go here. And you're like, oh, okay.
Because in the book, it's not in an order that makes like logical sense if you're creating a character. I'm going to actually, just to not throw shade at 5e, but use 5e as an example, because it is the thing right now, is when you start and you're trying to like create a character, let me go to the create a character thing. It goes step by step. You choose like race, then class, then character personality and backgrounds. I had the character personality and backgrounds before I ever had the class or the race. Like, in my mind, we're going in a really weird direction. And I think Pathfinder's first book, the 3.5 book, the original one, which is also sitting around here somewhere, was worse. It made less sense to me. But also, like, they have you generate your stats before you do all this stuff, which is also bananas. You do that last, in my mind. Because how am I supposed to know where to assign my stats if I don't have an idea, if I don't know what class I am? Like,
because I think in their first one this is just off the dome. I could be wrong. But I think it's like they want you to generate and assign them, but you're like, I don't know what they are yet, which I was like, well, generating them makes sense. So you know what your pool looks like, and you learn what kind of things you're going to want to put them to, but like, you kind of have to have that second step first before you can figure out a class and yada yada yada, especially if you're going to be a caster or something, because if you don't put anything in your casting stat, then like
can't learn spells.
Not only are your spells weak, but you can't even learn past a certain level.
And I think if you were going to do like roll dice and then choose based on the dice you rolled, sure. But that's a whole different way. That's like an advanced way of creating a character. You're like, I'm bored with the way we've been doing it, so let's roll dice and I'll build a character around these dice. Right? That's like that's a veteran player move right there, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a weird move to me. I don't like that
kind
of control and character creation.
I think it would just be funny if you did it as like a bit that
like
we
a
all
one shot or something.
For like a one shot, we all roll our dice and we build our character around the dice instead of what we normally do, which is we pick a concept, we roll dice, and then we hem and haw over what number goes where so that it fits our concept the best.
Right. Ellie says, I agree. Feeding the beast with humors is an interesting idea. Maybe one of the terrible things about the others is they feed off of the humors. That would be a reason for them to go to cities. I could definitely see that. That's kind of a part of what I was thinking with this creature that that Mr. Clyde has. Is I kind of hinted at the fact that it can like eat stuff and get humors from it, but obviously those things are probably living, which is why it got sanguine humor. It like ate a rabbit or something, who knows? But
of the pigeon mouth.
But yeah, the humors are like Dave said, it's kind of a part of everyday life. They run a lot of things, but they are also where the superpowers type stuff comes from, what makes things special. So I think a lot of the supernatural or even just extraordinary type abilities are going to come from some type of humor use, even if it isn't directly invoking. Excuse me. God, I got fucking dry mouth so bad today. Cool.
You know what my favorite thing about the way WotC writes rules is, though? All of their italics text, like stuff at the bottom, disclaimers, whatever, is hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
And that's like, I just had the rule book up because I was reading that, and that the bottom disclaimer that they write is like, we're not responsible for splitting up the party, sticking appendages in the mouth of a leering devil face, accepting a dinner invitation from bugbears, stuff like that. I'm like, That's hilarious. I love that. But because they just got to make up that page space, right? But I also think, as much as that stuff is cool, their layouts suffer from something that we also want to avoid, which is that sometimes they do that thing where there's just not enough stuff on a page, and then conversely there's too much stuff on a page, right? I feel like they don't have this like even distribution of amount of stuff on a page, and part of that goes into my point here is not just to rag on like the way people do it, because they've been doing it way longer than we have. Obviously, and they have an idea of what they want, and this might exactly fit what they want, but for what we want is what I'm saying about the thing. But for our classes, I want to be able to give every single class the room it deserves. And by that I mean I don't want to fall into that trap of like, well, the spellcaster can't take 7 pages because the fighter only takes 4 pages, and we want everybody to have like equal page lengths. So instead, we're gonna make the fighter take 7 pages by buffing in pictures and random stuff so they're all the same pages. I don't want to say I don't care about equal representation. That's not it. But I want to use the right amount of words to get stuff done. And if that's 7 pages just for one class and 4 pages for another, that's fine. Yeah, you don't all need the same amount of stuff as long as you get the same amount of kick-ass. Like, that's what we're looking for here. Yeah, because that comes from a place trying to pretend that casters aren't more complicated than beat sticks. They are. Definitely and this comes from a person who plays a lot of beat sticks. I play a lot of casters. I play a lot of casters. They are more complicated. My very first D&D character was a monk, right? They used a bow because, I don't know, I was being weird. But I remained a beat stick for a long time. Oh, God. And then my first 5e character was a fighter, so. Yeah. And, like, I don't know. I always. They're fun. They're just they're much more simple. But when I play beat sticks, I love how much, like, simplicity there is in character building versus what I'm doing as a spellcaster all the time. I'm like, dude, I wish I could have spellcasters that were this easy, but then I wouldn't have as much fun, probably. I'll be honest. You wouldn't feel as much like a spellcaster. Yeah, exactly. But now we're just talking about what we like to do in D&D. Yeah. It's part of the show. I guess we should try to build one of these characters. And I guess we'll feed Ellie another blurb later. Yes. But for now, we should try to get a class built, or at least see what we run into, what kind of issues we run into, right? Let me pull up a new sheet real quick. Unnamed RPG stuff. I'll probably go to folder just to try to pretend we're organized. We can at least pretend. We can always pretend.
Imagination.
Exactly.
Alright. What the fuck?
Yes. Oh, I need these.
Oh, hold on. I have to put that there for it to be visible. There it is. It's kind of there. It's there, yeah. Change these margins. Texting a little bit just to make it. I can see the oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm just changing the margins so it'll actually appear on screen. Oh yeah, that's smart. That's smart. No, I'm oh my goodnessing Panda's croc boots.
Oh, alligator skin.
Are they alligator skin too? Yeah, they are. Yeah. Alligator skin.
Or crocodile skin, I guess. But yeah.
They're reptile skin.
Yeah.
They're large reptile skin.
Because I don't know, otherling controller person is probably going to be a little harder to make. Maybe we save that one for second or third or something, right? Yeah, un petit, just a little bit. Yeah. Anytime you have familiar, animal companion, whatever, eidolons, whatever stuff, that's always more difficult. It's a second sheet you also have to do. Mm-hmm. So, what does a class need? What things is a class going to determine? Okay. Right? So, we have to answer that question. Obviously, it determines your
skill set, I guess is the way to put it. Like what skills or abilities you prioritize. That's the way I want to put that, right? Because it's the things that it gives bonuses to.
Yeah. So we're going to have it add proficiencies in those, like whatever dots. Should all classes add to what skills you get, or no?
I think
outside of just like a flat bonus, like just using the old example, say like do invokers automatically get training in 3 of the magic abilities or yada yada, but does every class get something like that where they get like training or something in at least one skill?
I think so, unless there's, for some reason, we come to a class that wouldn't have that. I don't know.
In which case, that'd be an exception. Right?
Yeah. If we were doing like, when you just want to play Dark Souls on the hardest mode and you start naked with a club.
Right.
With no stats at all.
Deprived. Yeah.
Fucking deprived. Right?
You know, the only way any of the 3 of us, I think,
you
have
say
ever played
no
the
stats.
Game.
Deprived is you start at level.
Yeah,
they're at
you have 10s across the board.
Yeah, 10s
I know.
Which is technically you get the most build a character out of it.
True. I think that's why we all tend to do it. Is because we want the most influence on what our final character comes out as.
Whereas if you choose Knight, you arguably have a better start because you're at level whatever and have gear. You know, like
and if you really want to be a spellcaster, it's easier to start out as like the acolyte or whatever. I forget what that class is actually called because you start out with a staff that can cast and spells.
Yeah. Rather than having to run around with a dagger or a club.
Rather than having to remember exactly where the first person who can teach you spells is, run directly there and get them.
Yep.
Which, yes, I have done 100%.
But okay, so skills. So they're all going to determine something to do with skill proficiencies. So we're going to put that down.
Yep.
What else?
So we got skill proficiencies. I want to say combat, like it's going to influence combat. How you participate in combat is going to be influenced by your class.
Of course.
So whether that is abilities, like combat specific abilities, or weaponry, like using weaponry, or using, magic, whatever, that is going to have a big effect. So if we go to simple that down,
a little more specific,
thank you. That's what I'm saying. To grind that down from a little bit more from just the word combat, let's go with like instead of just combat abilities, I want to say like offensive abilities, but it's still not specific enough. But let's get to the point of like
we can say it determines your we'll say proficiency for now because it's still a good word.
Yeah,
you can determine your weapon proficiencies as well. Right,
weapon proficiencies, and then again like offensive abilities, because things you can use in combat, like abilities specifically. Much like cleave or those are feats, I know, but you know what I'm saying, like these things are going to be determined by your class because not every class can take certain combat stuff, right? Just like in any other game, you have to be
so what would we call that? Would that be like boons or talents? Or
I think both boons and talents are probably going to be affected by this class, and especially the ones that you can use in combat. Because we're going to have combat-specific ones, because you have to, because part of the game is combat.
Yeah. So available boons, available talents.
Yeah. So obviously not just in combat, but also out of combat. So just putting that straight makes sense, because what you can do in combat and out of combat are obviously both going to be affected by your class, in or out.
I think most of that is going to fall between skills and weapons, generally. Because magic's going to come down to your skills. So is weapons, but you kind of need a weapon to use them, or your hands, or whatever. But okay, so it determines those. I'll try to ask more specific questions as well, because I know these are very open-ended. Does your class affect your hit points?
I don't. I want to say no, because ultimately what affects your hit points should be your base stats, right?
Yeah,
however,
that's normally how we have it at level.
Generally speaking, the way you pick your base stats is affected by your class, but that's a secondary effect. That is not a direct effect of the class. However, I don't think it's entirely crazy to have some classes have a HP stat buff.
Yeah.
I think that is a reasonable thing to try, especially when you're working on things like that are going to be like brawlers or, tank damage. Those things getting a little bit of a buff for choosing that class specifically.
I will definitely accept that. But if that's the exception rather than the rule, then we want to leave it off of this for now.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think
it's crazy to have every class give a flat bonus, but this kind of comes down to another thing. Are we going to deal with like NPC classes, or are unimportant NPCs not going to have a class? They just have like base stats and whatever random bullshit they get, but they don't get any of these class bonuses and things. Because if that's the case, I'm much more, of course, okay with every class getting like, your first level or whatever you start in gives you like 1, 2, 3 hit points, right? Because it's not much, but it's something, right?
Yeah. But I think that's interesting.
I don't feel super strongly about it. It was just a thought.
I think it's a good idea, and I think it is something to explore. And I think the problem is we're gonna have to figure that out when we hit what we want to do with NPC classes. Because right now we're so focused on how we build the player class. I think we're gonna have to have a concept for that, then try and do a non-player class, and then go, oh wait, we didn't make the player classes feel special enough, or oh wait, the player classes are too strong. Whatever comes up, or oh wait, these NPCs are too weak.
Yeah.
But I think starting out with just having it be the exception is probably a good kickoff point for testing. And then if we decide, man, everybody's getting waxed a little too easy, let's give universal kind of buffs for PCs.
Okay, yeah, I absolutely accept that. Same question, but for stamina.
See, now...
Because stamina is usually based off HP.
Right.
But...
weirdly, I think I'm going to answer the opposite in this one, which is I do think every class should get a stamina buff, dependent on your class. Because like an invoker's not going to get as much of one as like ranger analog for Panda, who are running out through the wastes and collecting things.
Exactly.
Because that guy
take a little more punishment.
Yeah,
I want to be that guy that runs into no man's land when there's like in the middle of the night to scrounge for shit.
That's valid.
But yeah, if I had to give an example,
Do you have more to that example, or is that the whole thing?
Specifically, I mean, I guess
guy.
No, not necessarily.
Those vines and bayonets in the middle of the night.
Not stealth required, but being able to much more like how I always do, like, oh, can I scrounge for food and stuff, like literally a scavenger type.
Yeah.
I like that.
Because that's kind of, I mean, it's good for, I don't know if you do dungeons and stuff like that, or if you're needing to find auxiliary ammo, gear, whatever. Especially if it's like, oh yeah, it's a battlefield, and forgive me because I don't have a good memory on the. But what are we calling the not undead, but the
stiffs?
Stiffs.
I think we settled on stiffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they come back a certain period of time after death? Do they have to physically be messed with to come back after death?
It depends. If you run out of drive, I think we'll come up with like a certain number of days or hours.
Yeah.
But they'll just get up on their own. If they're just like, if they get like shot in the chest and bleed out, then someone has to go and mess with them to turn them into a stiff.
Because I don't like that might be questionable, like on a battlefield, of how dangerous is it to go where a bunch of bodies are,
Yeah, I mean, it would still be dangerous because I imagine there are still those anomalies where like someone's just dead and they just fucking get up because maybe they ran out of drive before they bled out.
Also, I gotta imagine
shit.
some of the wild creatures out on Shard would be attracted to the leftovers, so you'd also be having to brave some of the local inhabitants.
Yeah, I don't know, just
But you
More
think about it
stealth
too, like-
focused, but yeah. No.
Oh yeah, good chunk of
That's
Shard
cool. I like
is
that.
uninhabitable wasteland. Having somebody who can do the scavenger bit is gonna be really helpful because I wouldn't even say wasteland isn't necessarily the right word, but it is uninhabited and is a wilderness. It is
it's
not
dangerous.
necessarily and it is not necessarily conducive to life.
Yeah, absolutely. I would absolutely agree with that. But no, yeah, scavenger thing would be pretty dope. Yeah. Okay, fuck yeah. So we'll say but your class also determines your bonus stamina. I specifically put bonus stamina because your base stamina is based off your HP, and then this would be like on top of that.
Yeah.
I'll put that there. Is it not gonna let me? It's not gonna let me. Okay. Skills, proficiencies, available boons, available talents, bonus stamina. We don't want it to like specifically affect like how many levels in the condition tracker. That should be an exception, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Figured as
I
much,
think
but
that's one of
figured
those
I'd
things
ask.
like HP, weirdly enough, that needs to be on its own. And again, HP may change, but I think condition tracker is one of the things that doesn't. That's just going to stay itself for everything.
Yeah. Maybe there may be exceptions where it's like you get like an extra, level on it where no effect or extra -1 or whatever the fuck. But
Or you get just one additional step down. Who knows?
Yeah.
Or there could even be
Before
one
end cap.
where you get one less because of whatever you do, but you get a lot of extra
kind
stuff
of
for it.
drawback.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, cool. So it doesn't affect the rule doesn't affect condition tracker. I'm trying to think of other static values. They're not going to affect base ability scores.
Nope.
I'm out. What other things should we have as... Hold on, I have the other sheet over here.
I gotta get off Reddit. Sorry. I'm reading dumb shit.
My hand smells like a mixture of Dawn dish soap and gun grease because I was working on guns today. But I had a guy bring in a gun that was so covered in dried paint that I legit filled a bus tub,
Doop.
a bus tub with water and Dawn dish soap to scrub the. I let it soak. I just let this gun. I took it apart, took all the pieces out, just let it soak in this tub of Dawn dish soap for like half an hour before I tried to scrub it all off because it was so caked on there. So my fingers smell real weird.
Okay. Let's call this class number 0. Bonus movement speed. Exception?
I think that's an exception. Yeah.
Yeah. Because basically what this is asking is like, is this going to go on every class description?
Yeah.
And so, if we don't want to put it on every class description, then that's fine. Excuse me. I think those are all the really basic things. Everything after that we categorize as class features, right?
Right.
All the things unique to the class or that make an exception to previously established rules. I'm just looking at it now. I think the only thing that bugs me is I want to move the available boons and talents to the end, just because that'll be the last thing that comes up. Just do this so that those stay there. Cool. So these skills, weapon proficiencies. I guess weapon armor proficiencies, right?
Yeah,
It's
weapon
like
and armor.
gear or equipment proficiencies.
Yeah. Because I think that makes more sense too. Because you can have things like, I don't know, grappling hooks or.
Right. Yeah.
I need proficiencies in shovels, damn it.
Bonus stamina, class features, available boons, unavailable talents. Neat. Okay. All right. That sounds good. All right, so we need to come up with what's the first class we're gonna make.
Well,
Do I need to read the next blurb now, or should we just wing it here?
I mean, you can go for the next blurb. I was gonna just say, why don't we work on, the beat stick class first, since we want to go with the simpler things. But I'm down for a blurb, and then we can talk about that.
That works, because next blurb is beat stick.
Hey, there you
go. Again, I have no idea what it says because I didn't reread it. So here goes. One of these is gonna be the first one turned out pretty good, I must say. I'm sure one of them's bad. Here we go.
Law averages, right? Law averages.
Yeah, blurb is for you, Ellie, because we know that you're sitting there waiting for him. Brooks waited as bullets sailed through the air around him and Professor Pult wailed shrill orders at his guards. He made eye contact with Brooks, who gave him a questioning expression in reply. The professor seemed to shut out the thought of paying him for his services, and instead grabbed his own rifle and took a few steadying breaths. The bandits outside their camp hollered another demand to surrender, but Brooks knew the cargo they were moving was way too valuable to give up. Finally, Professor Pult looked at him and nodded. Brooks showed the professor the amount of money he was taking, and then stood up. A bullet pinged off of his helmet, and another caught his vest. Unbothered, he hefted a war sledge in one hand and a rifle in the other, making sure the leather loop on his sledge was fastened to his belt for quick retrieval. He heard the bandit shout, "Oh shit!" He dashed from behind cover at the pace of a racing steed and hit his injector pack. The concoction of humors flooded his system, everything suddenly clear. The shadows between trees illuminated, his body felt light, and his weapons lost all sense of burden. He flew into battle, drawing a hail of fire. Pain spiked for an instant as a warning, and his delayed aegis kicked in, absorbing the rest of the bullets before the shielding failed. In their panic, the bandits all needed to reload at once, so Brooks laid into them with his sledge. One blow was plenty for each, and they were far too slow to escape. The screams were alien shrieks of fury and fear through the haze of humors, unintelligible gibberish, and quickly silence. As the humors idled to a dull roar, the words became clearer. "We surrender," they said. Brooks shook his head. Pity that, and tracked the last bandit fleeing for his life with his eyes. He aimed quickly and loosed 4 rounds into the bandit's back, watching him fall. Job done.
Job done.
I feel like that's what it feels like to be on Psycho.
Right.
And Mentats, of course. And Mentats.
Whiskey!
Yeah, do all the drugs.
Yeah, all of them, all at once.
Remember, kids, never mind, I'm not going to say that.
Psycho for the uppers, Turbo for the downs, and then Mentats just to level everything out.
Yeah. God. But no, I love that because it is that kind of thing where talking about the ubiquity and common use of humors talks about how the use of humors can change a simple like mercenary guard into a wrecking machine against some regular people, and really is what's going to help kind of set that tone for how PCs interact with the world around them.
Yeah, I need to make the corrections that I did on the fly when I was reading that blurb, by the way. I'll have to watch this back and add them in. Anyway. Sorry. This is the wrong sheet. Here it is. But yeah, I mean, that was obviously kind of the thought I had for what we called the Brute originally. Mm-hmm. Just, yeah, I'm just going to walk through this shit and go murder everybody.
Yeah. As one does when they're the smashy.
Now, granted, what I was imagining there was probably not a level 1 Brute. Oh, gosh, no.
I can't imagine that would be.
Right, yeah, like, just walk through a hail of gunfire is a little bit higher level than that. but kind of as the thing to like aspire to. Maybe a first level brute could do that to like a couple of people.
Right.
But that's a beat stick. Do we go with that one?
Yeah, I like it. So, okay. Well, I'm just thinking. So we have our. If we're going in, if we're going in our order of stuff we need, we're gonna need combat skills. Which I guess once we make our combat skills, we'll have that. But just for some kind of examples, we'll be able to use, like, I don't know, like quick reload or two-handed or whatever, right?
You have combat skills. What we don't have are like specific features and boons.
Okay.
Because we did make our skills. I just gotta go figure out what fucking page they own. Got a big ass list of them somewhere. I know they're in the roll 20. True. I know they're in the roll 20 for sure. Because they're under the what's in a class thing.
Right. Okay.
Let me pull that up real quick. Or what's in a character, I guess is yeah. Yeah, because most of those are like body skills. So we have acrobatics, athletics, perception, sneak, sleight of hand, and then melee weapons, cutting, thrusting, bashing, finesse, heavy, unarmed, grappling, striking, range, thrown, long arms, small arms, archaic, and defense, dodge, evade, block. And that's those.
Okay. Okay, so I want to say then we're picking from when we're at first level. We're picking from like X amount of these. I don't know how many we get first level, because we obviously can't give them everything.
Right.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But so
you're still audio, Panda.
For this one, let's see here. Do we want to do like mix and match like 3 skills to start with? Or do we want to do more than that? Or what's our numbers we want to work on here, I guess?
So, you know what? We probably need to figure out what people get at base outside of their class.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, because if you only get it determined by your class and nothing else, 3 is maybe too low to be actually combat focused, Because it'd be like, okay, I can use cutting weapons, and I'm athletic, and I can grapple, and I can do nothing else efficiently.
Right.
But, so... But I don't know what that would be. But I don't know. Figure out like a baseline. How hard should that be? Let's say you get how hard could that be? Fucking minute and a half of silence.
How hard could it be? Pause, yeah.
Let's see, it's like a regular person. What was the is it in this? There was like 5 levels of proficiency, I think is what it was. Let's see, other rules. Is that where it was? Yeah, talent, training, practice, experience, and accomplishment. So yeah, like how do we want to break that down? We could say a person has at base. Maybe one of each? No, because I don't think like every person should have accomplishment. Right? That doesn't make much sense.
No.
And this is, of course, assuming this is like an adult, right?
Yeah.
Like, I could see, like, if you're making a child character, maybe they don't have experience or something, right? But, like, so classless, I think maybe you get one of each except accomplishment. So you get, that's like a base of 4. So you get a talent, a training, a practice, and an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you can stack those up or mix and match them however. So you could be a fucking super expert in one skill and have no others for some reason.
Right.
But do we want to add any other kind of like bonus thing to that? Like you could get extra talents if you have higher mind or something. Like mind 4 you get an extra, and then mind 5 you get an extra talent. Because those are the above average.
Yeah, I think so. I think that makes sense because we want to give people something for that.
Yeah, and we want them to have something to work with too.
Yeah.
So like at mind 5 you'd be at base of good lord brain, a total of 6.
Right.
Before your class. Which isn't crazy. It's still coming down to like an extra die, and then whatever you don't have, whatever penalty you take to not having proficiency in a thing. Probably just increase in difficulty. Maybe the bonus ones have to be in like mind skills.
Yeah, I think that makes
that
sense
to
too. I
limit
was
it.
gonna say there's gotta be some kind of caveat because just being able to think anything, I feel like is just so.
It's a little wild.
Yeah,
That should be an
and
exception rather than the rule, right?
not only is it so good, I also just think it's so much like analysis paralysis. Like it gives people too much choice in character creation.
Yeah, you might be
and
right.
At that point where you're ended up like, oh my god, I can pick anything, and so you spend so much time looking through all of them. But if we're like, hey, you just get this list, that's a lot easier.
Actually, let me go to, where's the classes thing here? Edit. I'm going to put a classless thing up here just so we have somewhere to track it. We don't know if we're just going to have no class or end up with an NPC class. This is just so that we have a thing to document what we just said.
Yeah.
Get before class are assigned. Oh, I forgot you can't just go. How the fuck you do that? There it is. Let's see, 1 talent or let's say skills, 1 each of talent, training, experience. Or wait, no, practice and experience. I did it again. Okay. And then... Wait, why did it create fucking space here? I'm just bad at this. Mind 4 and 5 each give 1 additional talent rating in a selected mind skill. Cool. Which our mind skills are a lot of them.
Yeah.
Many, many skills in mind. Wherever I put that, there it is. Blend in, deceive, / intimidate, engineering, demolition, explosives, maintenance, blah blah, investigate, medicine, lore, persuade, pilot, primal forces, and survival. which lore and knowledge are going to have more things once we come up with them. Cool. I like that rule. Sweet. So that brings us back to, so if everybody's got a base of, you get like 4 things. Should, I think I'm in the wrong sheet again. I am. Okay. Should classes skills all be training? Or should that not matter? Should it just depend on the class?
Man,
like unwritten rule, they're usually training, but they're not always training.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Because it doesn't make sense. I was going to say it doesn't make sense, but we could have some kind of sorcerer type thing where talent would make sense for it to give that to you. None of these are going to give you accomplishment. That wouldn't make any sense.
Right.
Unless we come up with a class where it does. So, yeah, I don't know. I think maybe it's better just to say it's usually training that they give you, but not always. Because I can see some giving experience or practice, right?
Right.
Or we just spell out what the mix of them is in the class skills thing, what it gives you.
Yeah. Yeah.
It also means it's kind of cool because later, a class will like upgrade your skills or whatever. It can like give you experience in 2 of these or whatever, right? Like, or give you this, but you can it kind of lets you like piece together what stuff you can put those in. But it also gives you like a little bit more of a narrow focus, because if you've already got experience in a thing, you're not going to get it again. So you just pick a different skill. Kind of like if you have expertise in something in 5e, or the same level of training across your skills in Pathfinder 2e, right? So it's like trained, expert, something. I don't remember. I haven't played 2e much.
Yeah.
Cool. So we're leaving it at that. What does the brute get? Oh yeah, we still need the number. So the brute should give you training in how many skills? Because we are listing that also separately from gear and equipment proficiencies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think that means I need to be able to pull this up in 2 slots. Good lord, self. Cool. So that's it. Other rules. Come on, self. Here it goes. All right. So stuff like cutting weapons, thrusting weapons, bashing weapons, whatever. I guess those are still skills. So your ability to use a certain weapon is going to be determined separately by the class. So like, even though you're good at cutting weapons, you're not good at you're not proficient with every cutting weapon.
Right. Yeah.
So those are separate. Okay.
It seems a bit weird to say it like that, though, because it feels like you should just be proficient with things, right? But also, like, man, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, but yeah, I don't. I don't think you should be able to put like training in cutting weapons and know how to use a katana the same way you use an axe.
Yeah, I don't think so either. That's why it's just awkward. It sounds a little awkward, I think, when the way you have to like type it up, I guess. But also, like, it's not like, obviously.
Yeah, I think on a sheet it'll look fine, because it's just like you're gonna have whatever cutting weapons you have, and if you use those, you get all these bonuses. If you use one that you don't know how to fucking use, you still know how to use cutting weapons. You're just gonna take whatever other penalties to non-proficiency, right?
Yeah.
Which we haven't come up with, but figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
it's probably going to just be that a lot of like specialty things you need to be proficient with it to use it, right?
Right.
Okay. So back to the brute. Skills wise, how many things do we want them to get? I feel like 3 still seems small.
I feel like 3 still seems small too. I was about to say, like, as much as 3 is kind of what we just talked about, it still doesn't seem like enough.
We could go by category. We could say you get 3 body skills, like 2 soul, 1 mind.
Mm-hmm.
And like each thing gets like a certain number in each category.
Okay.
3 still seems small. Maybe we go 4.
It does. It does.
Maybe we go 4. Maybe we go 4, 3, 2 for that loadout, or maybe we go 4, 2, 1. I think it still seems a little small, but also I don't know that brutes are going to necessarily have like this vast array of skills, right?
Right.
And you still get your 4 starting ones outside of it.
Yeah.
So that means, so see if they get, let's say like if they get 4 body skills, that allows them to be, so you could go athletics, perception, and then you could get a couple of weapons out of that. But no defenses. Wonderful.
Right.
But okay, so the thing that I'm wanting to stick with is that each class gets a number of skills in each category. So they'll get a certain number of body, a certain number of soul, a certain mind, a certain number of soul, right? Might be good. Maybe we just come up with like a specific number. So let's say if we say the number is they get a total of 10 out of that. The brute, we could allocate like 6 out of that 10 to body, and then like 3 to soul, and then 1 to mind. Not that that's a great balance, but just like if we decided to do it that way, just say, okay, they're all going to get 10 points. It's just each of them has a different spread.
Yeah.
I know it's tough.
It definitely is.
What are you seeing as the drawbacks to that? Off rip.
I just don't know if that like number generation is such a weird way to say that, but I don't know if that like specific way to put those numbers is going to be what we need for every class. I guess is like 10 is I don't know. It's one of those things where when you get a number and it's good for one, but then the second you build the second class, it doesn't work. And it's
Right.
like no matter how you spread it around, it still feels like it doesn't work. And I'm concerned that that's what we're going to run into.
But those classes can then have exceptions, right?
Yeah,
We're building a base rule. So
I feel like if we're building the base rule, though, and only one class goes by the base rule, it then just didn't matter that we built it as the base rule.
Then
But
we
that's
reverse
fine
it
too.
later and say, right? We go, okay, no, never mind. This class just sucks at this. This is the exception. Everything else is better than that on this case.
Yeah.
Or worse. I don't know. I don't know if 10's the good number. I just mean if we do it that way, it gives us something to build out the rest of it,
Right.
and then
I don't know if
see
10's a
if
good
that
number
needs to
either,
move.
but we got to start somewhere. Might as well be 10
Yeah, may as well. Okay, so let's say
since we use that as our example.
So what should our... Where'd it go? Oh, god damn it, I keep going to the wrong damn sheet. So I haven't looked at chat in a minute. Okay. The last thing is still Ellie saying blurb heart. So I think we're good. So skills, I'm going to put up here in class 0. 10 skills. Pools allocated between body, mind, soul, skills. But down here, we're going to say, so yeah, what do we run with for the brute? Do we go with that weird 631? What? I told you to stop. It doesn't matter.
Halloween God?
At least you didn't say yes, God, this time.
Yeah.
Now I'm looking for my list of skills because I was looking at the one you had up there, and now I don't know where mine is.
I pulled it up. I've just got it up in Roll20 because I can't find the actual sheet.
Okay, then.
It's under what's a character.
Okay, then I'll pull that up then because I was looking for the actual sheet.
You can do this. Yeah, I keep looking back to try to find where the actual sheet is in the drive.
Yeah.
And then like failing miserably to find it.
That's fine. So I'm on here too. So we're giving him 10.
So how many of those get allocated to body skills? Because that's going to be the majority for a brute, right?
Yeah. You want to start 6-2-2? Is that too hard one way in the paint? Is that, because if we do 6-2-2, they still get 2 mind, they still get 2 soul, but the majority of them are body skills.
Yeah. And that's not counting, of course, whatever they start with, the others. So they can have shit in one of these. I mean, for what they do, I feel like it works.
Yeah.
Because they're gonna want a lot of those weaponry skills. I'm trying to shake the they're kind of based on a barbarian, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm just trying to think around the different types of build a person might want with a brute. But I don't know.
Good night, Ellie.
Good night.
Good night.
We go real hard. We go 8-1-1. That's the hardest hard.
Oh Jesus, yeah, that's the most extreme. Let me look at the mind skills and the soul skills real quick.
We don't have a lot of soul skills is the problem.
There's not a whole lot of them.
But part of that is
because craft is going to get
craft and perform are going to be multiple.
And perform is going to get exactly.
So that's part of it.
Yeah, some of them are going to get expanded. Oh, we still know most of the skills are mind because they're just even still lore knowledge is going to get built out further. Yada yada yada. And then of course all the magic ones are technically also mind skills. Mm-hmm. If we end up getting to talk about one of the casting focused ones, I'll talk about what I kind of thought about how to do those when you put points in them. But there's not a ton of soul skills, which is fine. There are a lot of mind ones. So if I'm thinking of your titular, your iconic barbarian, they should have a lot of weaponry, a lot of those body skills, obviously. But they're going to need stuff like survival. They're going to want the kind of intimidate skill. They're going to want
probably, yeah.
And other than that, not a ton in mind.
Yep.
Even if we kind of push to okay, let's update the iconic barbarian to the mid / pre-World War II era, and what kind of skills they're going to want.
It's always nice to have medicine skill when you're the guy getting beat up.
That is true. Being able to first aid yourself.
Yeah.
But there, I'm thinking that's a thing that they put one of their unclassed points into, right?
You can do that.
And then for soul, you got maybe handle animal, and then it'd be kind of cool to have some supernal forces just to be able to sense things.
Also, sense mode is never a bad thing to put stuff in.
Also true. Also
our
very
vibe
true.
check. Contrary to our general game that we play on this channel, where none of us have sense mode at all, you should do that. It's really useful.
It's very useful. So yeah, I don't know. Let's start off with 622. I mean, it's extreme, but I think it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's not 811 extreme. So I mean, come on.
Right.
Like,
I don't know of any.
That's way
I can't
hard in the
think of a class that's gonna be that, but I'm sure someone that might exist.
look, if you let me design how those things went and I made a spellcaster, I would 811 it. Okay? If you let me
That's true.
pick-
I was thinking specifically body 8.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like
I would
body skills 8.
100% be like, give me all the mind skills. I'll go 10. I don't need body skills. What's that body for anyways?
I'll just have my undead servants drag me around.
Yeah,
what are you
exactly.
talking
I don't need to
about?
Walking's for poor people.
2 mind. 2 soul.
Or what's the line? What's Bender's line? Bodies are for hookers and fat people. That's what it is. When he's only a head.
Right. Okay, so their skills, they get 6 body, 2 mind, 2 soul.
Yeah.
And then otherwise they're 4 starters. Which, yeah, dope. Okay. They're going to have quite a few things they can be proficient in body-wise. They could be proficient in every type of weapon.
Being able to, I mean, yeah.
If they wanted.
I was going to say, being able to mix and match your weapon proficiencies, I think is going to be important. Instead of having to off rip go, I'm only good with this because I only have enough skills to be good with this. And it's just like, yeah, that kind of sucks, dude. When you're like, I'm pretty much just going to be able to bash things. So here's my hammer. I can't do much else. I'm sorry.
So
I hit this stuff.
Geared equipment proficiencies, we haven't really developed all the gear yet.
No.
So like, I forgot even what we had like a whole idea about how to handle gear, like kind of how to categorize it. It's like simple, complex, and something else. It's in one of the earlier videos, and I didn't watch it because I forgot about it.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch old videos. I don't remember either, I'll be honest.
Because we're gonna need like a matrix on it, basically, to like. That sounds like it's gonna be crazy complicated, but that's really just for the building phase to be like, okay, these are all the complex weapons. This is what determines that, yada yada yada. And then like once we get that figured out, actually compiling it into a list of okay, here's the shit, is not that hard.
No, and I think it'll be easy to pick from. It's just us having to go through the rigmarole of this goes into putting things in their bucket, so to speak, right?
Yeah, what's in the bucket and why is it in that bucket, you know, versus the others. So that'll have to be a thing we do later. So gear and equipment proficiencies, let's just say for now, like, fuck, dude. Plus, dude, we're talking about like we're talking like World War One era.
Yeah.
The age of like those firearms and stuff. There weren't like a ton of body armors being used in.
People were still running around
in like
just
actual combat.
Freaking army uniforms.
Yeah.
For the most part.
Like there were some, but they were like not really being used. It was still
almost everybody was just
mail.
At the very beginning of World War One. You still had people in fucking steel armor on horses because they didn't know what's what until they met a Maxim machine gun, and then they realized that's real dumb.
Exactly. Yeah, it was all like plate mail shit.
Yeah, that was real dumb. They figured that out fast.
So we'll have to come up with some, right? We may even like get to dip into some things that maybe are past this.
We can make
past
like
what it was developed on Earth, but it still makes sense for the time period.
We can do like ceramic scale armor. Ceramic scale armor is one of the like more modern things they've done in body armor for stopping bullets, but at the same time is a concept easily that was created actually, if you think about it, because it was ceramic scales put into cotton woven things, like in ancient China. Like
fight me and my pottery armor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it worked to disperse bullets. Like it works now. It's just they have Kevlar weave and they put the ceramic scale in it. But this is a thing that we could easily implement in.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying. Is like being able to pull things that were technically invented later on Earth to here, as long as they make sense for the tech level, is fine because Shard is a way more dangerous place. Surprisingly, than Earth is.
Honestly, like even not going as far as like Kevlar, but you could do like chemical weave, because I'm sure people have come up with how to do polyester. And if you can come up with compound fabrics like that, like polyester, you can come up with rubber weave garment.
They'll just be
that
a
is,
lot
like,
less
more
common because they're harder to manufacture.
Yeah, exactly. It's more
Right,
flexible.
like-
It's not like Kevlar level of like maybe like impact absorbance, but it's close.
Yeah.
It's not like the DuPont companies run around making Kevlar for everybody.
So this is, I feel like gear is going to be our first roadblock, right? We just don't have enough. We don't even have categories really established to say what kind of gear they get.
Right.
So we're gonna have to. I think we're gonna have to just say.
Because we're gonna obviously
TBD.
have weapons as a type of gear.
Categorized.
We're gonna have, clothing, even if it's not armor specifically, but whatever you're wearing is a type of gear. If you I'm always reminded of the old VG Cats cartoon where he's trying to put on a hat and he can't because he doesn't have enough skill points to put on a hat.
Yeah,
Poor
or just
Leo.
he's not the right level. or
Herder,
whatever.
I'll wear it
Yeah.
on my foot.
We're not gonna
Let's
have
do it
on
hats
his
where
face.
it's like, yeah, you have to have a proficiency to wear a hat, but it is gonna be like if you want to wear like a helmet and able to fight
Effectively,
well, you need a proficiency, right? Because
Yeah.
fighting in a helmet, especially a visored helmet, is way
Yes,
different.
not just like a simple one.
Yeah, is way different than running around wearing a ball cap, right? Like those two things are very different.
Yeah. We can even
so-
write non-proficiency penalties into the gear, like into the
Yeah.
weapons and armors and stuff themselves. We don't have to have a blanket one, but we probably should in case people do things like, they want to use a weapon we don't have on our list, right? And so it's like, okay, well, what's the general fallback for if you're not proficient with a thing, or they just come up with something that we didn't think of, which they will.
Oh, totally. I like also doing proficiency penalties by type of thing. So
Yeah.
even if it's not like
There's like
an individual
familiarity
one, let's say
versus
it's like
non-familiarity.
grappling or not grappling. Grappling could work, in that if you're trying to grapple somebody and you're not proficient, you have this kind of penalty. If you're trying to use a sword, a cutting weapon of any kind, sword, axe, whatever, and you're not proficient, all cutting weapons, let's say, have this style penalty or whatever. Not even cutting weapons, but all swords, because we have sword proficiency versus axe proficiency versus whatever, right?
Right. Yeah.
Swords are going to have this blanket, negative if you don't have proficiency and whatever, right? And that makes sense because then we're still sticking with our grouping. And so as long as somebody's like, oh, I want to make this special sword, but it's not in the game, well, it still falls into the sword category. So if you don't have proficiency, you're still gonna have this penalty because it's a sword.
Yeah. So you have like familiarity and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
While of course we want to avoid what's done in GURPS because that's a little more granular than what we want, which like they have basically like each skill and that kind of stuff. There's a listing for non-proficiency things. So this is not accurate, but for example, like broadswords, if you're not proficient, you can roll like, I think it's if you have like axes or something at like a penalty. So it's like it has like a list of other things you can roll instead and what the penalty is with that skill.
That's
which
cool.
is
but
cool.
Way too granular.
But it's way too granular. Yeah.
That is rad though. I do like that as a concept, but
It's
not
a super cool system.
Yeah, not what I want to do here. I think just blanket penalties based off of weapon type. Whatever we decide our weapon types are going to be, whether we're going to go axes, swords, spears, whatever, rifles, pistols, if you don't have rifle proficiency, you're going to take like a minus on your aiming because rifles you
or
have
like
to
extra
aim.
time to reload, that kind of stuff. Yeah,
Exactly. Especially if it's like most of the things we're going to have probably are going to be bolt action because that's the time period. Bolt action, lever action, things like that, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be single shot rifles for the most part. Like machine guns exist and you'll have the ability to find one or do something, but they're all almost mounted weapons. Very few people are going to carry them. If you're going to do that, you're going to have to be like a brute with strength bonuses and certain things to like carry a machine gun around and be wild.
Hold on, pandas alert. Hold on. What's
I said machine guns. Mounted machine guns and pandas' attention snapped to me.
Yeah,
But,
no, like for weaponry, talking about things that are prolific. If the military is giving you a firearm to be in the military, like, oh yes, you're going to go here, shoot at these guys, you're getting like the barest of bones stuff that puts
getting
a
a
bullet.
Lee Enfield rifle.
Yeah,
that
has been around for a while.
They've made a lot of since 20 years ago, and they've got a shitload of them.
Yeah.
They're gonna hand them
While
all.
semi-autos
like, how is
exist,
this not decommissioned yet?
yeah, while semi-autos exist, and while they did have semi-auto pistols in the like in the trenches, like 1911 was in the trench, World War One. trenches are very dirty, and a lot of people like it is a lot of stuff like you had to buy. Officers had to buy their own service pistols. So a lot of them couldn't afford a very expensive semi-auto. They could afford a revolver, which was a known, tried and true thing.
There's a funny.
Hopefully, they wouldn't have to use it.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
There's a funny story about that where somebody was talking about British officers couldn't afford to be promoted sometimes because you'd be like a non-com, you'd be like a sergeant or whatever. But in order to be a lieutenant, you had to buy your own uniform, you had to buy your own sidearm, and yeah, you got more money. But the amount of money you had to pay for your commission and all this other stuff would bankrupt you in the interim. So you could not afford to be promoted from like a master sergeant to a lieutenant.
Sorry, I'm just imagining, you've been doing so well. We've decided you just punched that guy. Oh, I'm so sorry. I guess I won't get promoted anytime soon, right?
You can just decline the commission. You didn't have to
just say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Ass. But yes,
but there were stories of that,
message.
for real, of people having to decline commissions because they knew they couldn't afford all the extra stuff that went with being a commissioned officer.
But sometimes you get the whole Russian of like, we need a bunch of guns. Who makes guns? Winchester. Make us guns.
Yeah.
This gun? No, make it in this caliber and make it
That's
take a stripper clip. And they're like, okay, cool. Here's a lever action. So,
so that's
the Russians during World War One got
cool.
this really fucking cool lever action. It's like America has never formally adopted a lever action as a rifle for its military.
Okay.
The people that made the Western gun,
yeah,
lever
our
action.
country.
We've never had one for the military
actions.
formally adopted. They have been used, but never adopted by the military.
That's funny.
Russia, however, yeah, they did.
But you know where most of those rifles ended up? Germany and Poland, because the Russian army got basically had to run back out of it, and then at the peace talk at Brest-Litovsk, they just kind of were like, "Here's our stuff. We're
Winchester.
going
Winchester's smart as well.
Go to break.
Yeah, I'm fidgeting. I need to pee.
So if you guys want to keep talking about this, that's fine. But we should go to. This is a good time to go to break right now.
It is. I'm gonna go.
So we'll be back.
And then I'll come
Winchester
back.
was a smart motherfucker too. No, it was.
Okay, we had to go back live because we got embroiled in not an argument. We agree. It's just a conversation about death battle type stupid stuff. But yeah, no. I think Megatron would probably kill Qui.
Yeah.
But the gap between Qui and like all of the other like named characters who fucking matter is huge. So yeah, like Zarbon bodies Megatron.
Yeah.
Bodies Megatron. Like it's not competitive.
Ridiculous short pants.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say what if it like literally is the question of X number of humans could defeat a Transformer or like Megatron, like if just Megatron is the idea. Because Megatron's good because he has all this fucking backup as well. The Decepticons
he's on the backup, and in the comics, there's like a bunch of other crazy shit,
But the idea of like how many humans would it take to defeat Megatron in theory, like with guns and human weaponry?
So I guess if there's a number assigned to that, then he can't beat most of the Z roster.
Yeah, because humans can't fuck with Z fighters.
No,
at all.
At all.
Like Yamcha is built different. Krillin is built different because they've had magic shit done to them, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Krillin is the strongest human. Like,
yeah. So we keep being told this, and then he occasionally proves it. But
my man wanted to still do good, so he became a cop. Like,
right?
That shows you what kind of good person Krillin is. Is like, you know what? If
you tried. That's
well, like shit. Like world universe issues weren't going, or like universal or world issues weren't going on. So he's like, I'll get a job. I'm not gonna be like Goku.
Krillin's an inspiration.
Yeah. Don't you want a bad wife? Bad in a good way.
Get you a baddie who thinks you're cool, even though you're 4'2" and bald.
Yeah. We all thought Krillin shaved his head because, of of the training and everything. Nope, she's going bald at 8.
He said, "Fuck it."
Had that receding hairline.
And then he got happy, and I guess he got keeps or something. Grew it out for a little while, and he was just like, I guess I'm gonna train again, so I'll shave this off.
Oh man, yeah.
Stop self. Got what he deserved. Oh,
Molly, I know what you mean, but anytime you say someone got what they deserved, it sounds ominous.
you're gonna get what you deserve, says 18, cracking her knuckles, and hard cuts to them like in bed smoking a cigarette.
Like Krillin got what
I
he
deserve
deserved.
that. What the
is
fuck?
very different depending on who says it. Just saying.
And
like
the
if Frieza
conversation
says it, that can only mean one thing.
No,
He
fuck.
died. He died. The tone of voice is what I was gonna say.
Oh, yeah, tone as well, and mannerisms.
Yeah,
But
you're gonna get what you deserve. The kiss you couldn't even feel it.
now I'm thinking of freaking Anime House references, but we'll have that. We'll have to wait until next month.
I watched a couple of them. No. I said
They're
I
fucking
was.
great. They're fucking great, dude. Have you got to the part where that has Frieza in it?
No, I have not.
Okay. I don't remember if we got to it or not. So
I think the last thing I
the other
watched,
thing.
because I got distracted with other stuff, was like Aang was like looking in the fridge, and like the producer like, "Hey, you can't be in here. You're not anime. You're a cartoon."
You're a cartoon. Yeah, that whole
He's
thing.
like, "What?
Poor
What
Aang.
the?" Yeah, and like opens the door, and like Korra's there. They're like, "No, you get out of here. You're not anime." Man,
And like the rest of us, come on, man, just let them in. They're like, no,
they're cool. Like,
Yeah, that. God, I fucking love that series. Anyway, oh god, all right. Like how Molly heard us talking about anime and tuned in.
That's what happens.
it's me with automatic weapons.
Yeah, I mentioned the machine gun. The man was like,
What? Figure
Like
work.
I could see him boot up. So I was like, well, we gotta let him talk because he's obviously got something to say now.
What?
But all right, so Gear is gonna be a whole thing.
Yes.
I think I had like a breakdown or something about what other things
Well,
are
yeah,
left.
that's
and
what
we
we're
got to
saying, Sale, is that we
classes.
didn't get you to talk until we talked about anime. That's what got your attention to be in the chat. You
Yep.
just lurked until somebody said anime.
She's like said a few other things occasionally, but
Yeah.
it was dead quiet until we started talking about Krillin. Oh, that's where the skills are. Anyway, I'm looking at talking points. Just because I know we had like a thing. What do classes do? We did not put on our like breakdown of like the things that we're gonna have to tackle. We didn't put Gear on here at all.
Ah. Well, we should have thought
Whoops.
about that when we were doing that originally.
So I don't know if that. So okay, so we have classes, which we're gonna get back to in a second. Which is what do classes do? Which is what we're on right now. After that, boons and talents. And then the next section is like dealing with monsters and whatnot. What comes out of the rifts, and then after that is potential drive-related stuff. I think we have to do equipment before we get to what comes out of the rifts.
I think so
we have
too.
to do it before monsters. Yeah, so that's like next.
Because we need to figure out what your stuff does.
Equipment's going to be a big one.
You can't just be running around charred naked, all right? You
yeah.
get arrested in Rift Reach just running around in your
They will.
boxers.
They'll be like, yo, what clothes are not that expensive, bro. What are you doing? Couldn't
Clothes
even cover
make
yourself
the
with your
man and the
hands.
lady man. You got to do something.
Go sit
There are
down.
children around.
So, yeah, equipment's going to be a big one. Anyway,
I just want to say
For
the
the-
wildness of like post-industrial revolution Europe and America of the that's indecent, children around, but also work the minds, child. Like that's a
Right.
fucking mental break that I can't understand.
cognitive dissonance.
It's like get your ass in that ammunition mill, small child. But also, you can't see a woman.
Get in there and preserve your innocence.
Yeah.
Granddad, I already smoke. What are you talking about?
Yeah. I smoke 3 packs a day, Grandpa. What do you want? Oh, that's another thing that's wild to me about the past is the amount of people that smoked. It's insane.
The amount of people that smoke now still baffles me, but that's just because
Every time I
I'm on
watch
dating
TV
apps and I
from the
shouldn't be.
80s, I'm also blown away by how many people smoked on TV in the 80s because it's one of those things like they're just like in a building smoking. I'm like, oh shit, you used to be able to do that. Like, I forgot. Because they made that law when we were like 10 that you couldn't do that anymore.
Granted, I know it's like a super terrible like addiction. It's like super hard to like
Oh, yeah.
quit.
It's really, really hard to do.
My mom has told me stories. But anyway, stamina. That's what we're at. How much bonus stamina does the brute get? I'm going to go out on a limb and say this should be at the top end.
Yeah.
This is our barbarian thing.
This should be pretty high up on the list of stamina getters.
It should probably be our current maximum, right? Like, what is like the most bonus stamina we would give to a class at a base?
Mm-hmm. So,
stamina is double your HP.
Yeah.
And normally your HP is like for a normal sized person who's not small or large or whatever is body times 2.
Right.
Plus level? I think it's plus level. I'm gonna have to look.
I have to look.
I'm gonna have to look. It's in other rules, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's in something else. It's the sheet it's in. I know is like health and stamina or something like that. It's like actually named pretty accurately. Condition, aegis, and damage. I think is it. Yeah, there it is. HP is determined by a creature's size, body, and level. Basic calculation is body is base times level plus body.
Okay. Base times level plus body.
Yeah, and then base is, if you take up only one space, is 2 times level. So for a first level person, you're going to have 2 plus your body rating.
Okay.
You start off with not very much, but it obviously goes up quite a bit as you level up.
Right. So my question is, do we want to do you get bonus per level, or do we want to just do a flat bonus for being this class?
I think a flat bonus works here, because I feel like because every class gives you I kind of just want to do flat.
Okay.
Because we can add extra later as part of the class features and stuff, right? Which I don't think every class is going to get. I think some are going to get their bonus, and that's otherwise just goes up with their HP, right?
So then if it's going to be a flat bonus, and we want this to be the most,
maybe. I say as, God damn it. Maybe it should scale. I don't know.
well,
It's not like it's also not like it's a thing that requires constant recalculation.
mm-hmm.
It's just when you level up, you just figure out what your stamina is at the new level, and then you're done. It's not like you have to. It's not like every session you're gonna have to do this math and figure out where your stamina goes, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we could have it incremental. So it's like bonus stamina per level.
Yeah.
If we do bonus stamina per level, I think that's still fairly simple. Rather than like adding to the base calculation, we just say each brute level gives you, I don't know however much extra stamina. 10? Do we give like a heap?
Well, I was going to go less than that since we're doing per level, but
that's a lot, right? That's a shitload.
Yeah, I feel like 10's a lot. I was going to say 5, but I don't know what the actual number should be either. That's what I was kind of working on right now. Is I was trying to do that like mental maths of what the actual number should be.
Honestly, 5 for level is fine, because then we can just scale it back by 1 for other classes. We have
And again,
very easy scale.
We as long as we throw a number on it right now, I think we'll realize very quickly if it's too much or too little. Because right now we're just at such a nebulous phase because this is the first thing we're doing. So even as we do the other ones, I think before we ever get to testing, as we do the other ones, we'll go 5 is not enough, or oh man, 5 is actually more than we thought it was. Let's make it 4,
Right?
Because everything else is going to be 1, 2, or 3. You know. Whatever that is, I think just throwing a 5 on it right now is fine.
Yeah, I think that's okay. Cool. The reason I put boons and talents at the end is because we haven't come up with those yet.
Yeah, it's true.
We don't know any of what they are yet. But we do have... This is definitely showing us where the gaps are, though. Like, so our stamina, and then we need class features, which this is the broad strokes here. Mm-hmm. Oh, my dog is blanky-less. One moment.
Right,
here's your blankie, King Harley. There you go. There you go, buddy. Okay. Yeah, broad strokes, class features. I'm starting to feel like we don't have enough to make class features yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know what is missing, right? We know what the humors do both thematically and mechanically as far as like invoking goes, mm-hmm. which gives us the basis for what other things we can like do with abilities that involve them. Because not every ability is going to be cut and dry. Oh, it has to do one of these things in that list. Because that's just what happened. That's just for the invoking and simple purposes. Mm-hmm. It just has to make sense what humors get used. So let's figure out what base features we can come up with now. What makes this class do what we think it should do from rip, right? It should be able to rage, right? They should have this humor pack or whatever.
Yeah, some kind of rage-like mechanic, I guess. Some kind of what's the word?
Battle fury kind of
frenzy,
thing.
Yeah, fury, something like that. That just like that extra mode
Thriller
they
remix?
give you in
Sorry.
games where you
it is
you hold down both triggers or something, and then the sides of the screen get blurry, and you run extra fast, and you hit extra hard, and then I play half the game forgetting that mode exists and don't know why this game's so fucking hard, and then somebody's like, why don't you use the thing? And I'm like, damn it. Just like,
oh yeah,
I can do that.
Anybody else kind of want to play Doom Eternal?
Yes, I was just thinking about it actually. I was like, except in Doom, I never forget that mode exists in Doom.
I want to fucking glory kill some shit. And
Doom is rad.
Feel like a crazy badass for a minute. No,
every time I think about being a badass, I think of Assassin's Creed 2. Wielding the big heavy weapons and just chucking them at people. And it's so satisfying to do. Yeah, but yeah, sorry. Just thinking of big guy do stuff. Yeah.
Right? Trying to like unhear it and I can't.
I'm just
sorry.
This lo-fi thriller, man.
It's dope. It's just
I like it. I like it a lot. I absolutely think this song missed a potential as like a lo-fi bop, man.
Right?
It's there.
It's fucking hitting. But so fury
whatever
mechanic.
We call it, whatever it does.
Right
so
now.
they can do that.
They do that.
Use up humor to do the thing.
That uses up humor, yes.
Right. Okay.
I'm just gonna take basic notes of it for now.
So obviously, too, since we figured out kind of like what humors do in casting, each humor will have a different effect when used for the fear mechanic.
Right. That should just be rooted in what we've already built out about those humors. It doesn't have to be an exact one for one. I'm okay with that because otherwise we're super shackled to how they work.
Yeah, I'm fine with them not being one for one. I just think that like,
but they should be close.
We're gonna do something like when if you use like melancholic humor, it's probably gonna be like damage mitigation. Or
it would make sense that there are a lot of the what is it? Fucking what do we call the one that affects the body? Biomancy
style. Exactly. They're gonna be very similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're gonna be very similar to that. Exactly. That's kind of what I was thinking too.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Okay, so it uses humor, obviously. I should put a U into that so it means the right thing. What else is this is going to be their bread and butter, right? So What else does this mechanic do?
You can give them extra actions. Like, you get in similar to how, if you have like where you get 2 standard actions in a round kind of thing. Where you can full attack in a round where you also move style of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't have the same mechanics, but thinking in a Pathfinder term, you'd be able to move then full attack, like being hasted.
Yeah, that makes sense. So like, so let's, because I think it'd be cool if we have some things where it's like there's selections, right? Later that like things you can add to it, like rage powers and Pathfinder. But we need that baseline, like you're saying. So instead of just like, you get a strength boost and yada yada yada, we need to figure out the base mechanics for what happens if you use it, where it doesn't matter which humor you're using.
Yeah,
you get these benefits from this feature. You said one of them would be extra action.
Yeah.
That's fine. I was gonna say, should that be humor independent? But I think it's fine.
I think just an extra action. I think specifically we need to tie that to where that extra action is something that has to be like attack based for this, not that you can do like 2, like lock picks in a turn. That doesn't make sense for the frenzy. You could do 2 like kicking a door downs, but whatever.
Yeah, like it's supposed to be an attack or. It must be some kind of attack or involve taking damage, maybe?
Yes, like some kind of... I feel like offensive...
Or actually cause damage, or otherwise cause damage.
Yeah, like some kind of offensive thing. Whether it is offensive and then is attacking a person or you're smashing something.
Yeah. Because objects can be damaged. You yourself can be damaged, right? Like...
Yeah.
If someone wants to be like, okay, fuck it, I stab myself in the arm to keep my shit going.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool, go for it,
bro. Part of my action.
Yeah.
Fuck it, slap myself in the face. I don't know. So there's that. I think that...
movement speed boost, I think.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that a movement speed boost is good. I think maybe you'll get more of one depending on which humor you use, but a base movement speed boost is just, in general, pretty rad to have.
We don't want. I was gonna say because our movement is also a multiplication, so we don't want to have to calculate that mid-battle. So we don't want to add a multiplier. We want to add a flat bonus.
Yeah, flat bonus.
Unless it's a very very simple multiplier, like.
I mean, I'm fine with just giving 10 feet. That's 2 extra squares.
Or 10 that'd be yards.
10 yards. Yeah, excuse me. 10 yards. That's 2 extra squares. That's a flat bonus. For now, and because again, I think humor you use, you could get more.
Each square is a square yard.
Each square is a square yard, so 2 yards then. Whatever. Depending I'm saying.
If we're, let me look at this shit again.
Dude,
I'm forget shit.
I'm losing my mind apparently.
We're on the mid-range map right now.
Oh, that's why.
So the short-range map, it's 1-for-1.
Okay, I was like, dude, I swear I was using the map we're on.
I'm actually still okay with it being 10 yards, though. It's just, it's kind of wild. That's a lot. That's kind of a lot, though. I'm trying to think, like, how much of a boost is that? So, if we assume this person has, we'll say body 4, right? May not necessarily already, like, have all the way up to 5. That means, that's what body times 5. So, they get 20. At a base per action.
Yep.
So 10 might be too much.
Ooh.
10 is like a 50% boost.
Yeah, it's 50%. Right? Well, if we give them 5, that's a 25%.
That's a 25% boost, and I think that's okay.
Okay, 5 is fine.
Still good. So go 5. Oops.
5 extra yards.
5, or say plus 5 yard movement speed. Cool. Extra action plus 5 yard movement speed, and we don't have like a soak mechanic either, because we have Aegis and then armor damage mitigation.
Yep. We do have temp HP. We talked about putting temp HP in and DR.
We did talk about temp HP,
but I also know that we wanted to maybe have. Here's the thing. Again, we can do a flat bonus of temp HP, like a small flat bonus. which is just like it could literally just be like you get your body score as temp HP, right?
But I'd kind of prefer that to be part of the humor thing because we talked about the.
That's what I was going to say too.
temp
We could
HP.
also have the humors do additional, even if we give these bonuses. Like,
Just,
if
like,
you
boost
think
it.
about it, it gets
Yeah.
better. Or just like you get extra movement, but if you're like,
I had a thought, but go ahead.
oh yeah, I was gonna say if you're sanguine, let's say you get extra movement, right? Because it's you get 5 yards in this, but if you use sanguine, you get 10 yards of movement instead of 5 or whatever. It doesn't. That's just an example I'm throwing out there.
Yeah.
Because then it's just because we gave it as a flat bonus does not mean that the humor cannot also boost it.
What I'm thinking of may be broken, so I don't know if it's okay. Which is that you would convert HP damage to stamina damage.
Oh yeah, that might be broken.
It might be. I don't know, right? I honestly don't. It will make you fucking tank,
Yeah.
but I don't know. That might be too much. Maybe it's like maybe it's split. Maybe we have it like HP damage is split between HP and stamina. So it's kind of in that 5e realm of where you take half damage from like everything physical.
Yeah.
But not quite that. It's just that you have so much less HP in this system in general.
Yep.
That I don't know how helpful that would actually be, depending on how much damage you end up taking, right?
Yeah, I don't either. Because that's what I was thinking about doing half damage as well. Because I was going to just mention that as a simple thing. Is I don't know how good that's going to be.
Because at first, if you've got body 4, you're at 8 hit points. Unless there's other bonuses, right?
Good night.
Yep. Night, Molly. Unless you have some other bonuses, you're going to have 8 hit points at first level.
Right.
Which means you'd have 16 plus 5, so you'd have 21 stamina, though.
Yep.
I don't know, man. That's starting to sound a little more attractive, just having converted to stamina damage. It's fucking terrifying.
That is terrifying, though, if you think about it. Like, that's wild.
I feel like we need to call that something so that we can call out when it's overcome. You know what I mean? Like, if we say you gain, this is a fighting game term, you gain hyper armor or whatever.
Yeah.
Which we know that mechanic would mean, you convert HP damage to stamina damage, that we can have weapons or skills or abilities bypass that thing.
Yeah, that ignored that? Right.
Yeah.
So if we call this, what do we call it? Fury mode?
I don't know if we need to call this specific mechanic
I'm saying,
Fury
what did
thing.
we call this?
Right now I just put Fury mechanic,
okay.
so
yeah,
I don't know what.
Because I just say I don't want to call it, like, Fury.
We call this resilience.
But I was going to say,
that's
like,
the thing we didn't use.
That, or I was going to say, like, frenzied resilience works too. I was going to say, like, frenzied something, because, when you panic or whatever, you don't. It's like mom strength.
Hysteric strength or whatever.
Yeah, hysteric strength. It's the same kind of thought in my mind, was that same thing, but.
So we could call the mechanic, we call it resilience. The class feature we call, like, furious resilience or frenzied resilience. Right?
Yeah, okay, that I like that. But it uses the resilience mechanic where you're taking stamina damage instead of HP.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is cool, because now we have, like, a cool, like, thing that we can add to, like, items or whatever the fuck that, like,
totally
hell resistant.
And as, like, a spell effect, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
That is maybe something you could do where you have this for this amount of time or whatever, right?
Yeah.
I'm down for that.
I need to put that somewhere. We'll put that in other rules as well, because that's where the kind of catch-all for shit has gone.
Well, and one of the things we were trying to figure out, I remember, was trying to figure out if we wanted to do DR or temporary hit points with Melancholic. If we just do you gain resilience instead, since we now have a mechanic for that,
that's
for
true,
X amount of time, like, bruh.
That is true. That might not be bad. Resilient. HP damage is converted to stamina damage, except when the source is from running out of stamina.
Yeah, that's
because
important.
we have to add that in. So we'd be like, well, okay, I ran out of stamina, and so I'm going to take HP damage instead of lower my condition tracker, which converts to stamina damage. It's going to come back off the top of my next pool of stamina. No, the fuck it's not.
No. It's like trying to discard a card as a cost when you have no cards in your hand.
Exactly.
Cheeky fuck. We're not doing that.
Go fuck yourself. No. All right, safe. Cool. We have made a mechanic. All right, gain resilience. Feature name. Theory mechanic. Oh my god, resilience. Cool. So get that while this is in effect. That instantly makes them already a tank.
Oh yeah.
Which, the more we talk about it, the more I like that. Yeah. Because, I mean, you know I fucking love Pathfinder, but at first level, you're paper.
You are. Even as a barbarian, even as a monk, even as even as a fighter.
God, especially
whatever.
as a monk, if you're vanilla.
You're still, monks are glass cannons for a bit.
Uh-huh.
Until you get a lot of them AC buffs where from your like speed and boost and whatever, you can get in the 20s because you're just fast as all get out and have like
somebody
ridiculous
casts
reflexes.
A spell that puts you at heavy encumbrance.
Yeah, that's Nick. Oh, that was amazing. Anyways, but yeah, no, monks are glass cannons for the first 5 levels easy. But like, no matter what class you are, at first level, at second level, you feel like I feel all the time as a sorcerer, where a stiff breeze will do me in.
Which, it's true, man. Like, you guys know I love Pathfinder First Edition, but like first couple of levels, even though it's really cool because it's fun that things are dangerous and feel dangerous. It's hard to feel like you can really do much. Especially when you compare it to other things like 5e or whatever, where like even first level characters are pretty ridiculous in a lot of ways. But this very much kind of calls to that, like, you know, even as a first level barbarian in 5e or whatever, you can range and start taking half damage from shit.
Yeah.
And that means a lot.
Oh yeah. Half damage is a big deal. So, and obviously the higher level you get, the more that is a big deal. And then you get into where it is ludicrously hard to harm them if you're using generic damage styles.
Oh, dude. I mean, yeah, you know, I played a fighter who had enough levels to be Bear Totem Barbarian, and it was fucking impossible to kill.
Oh, yeah.
How many times did I get dropped? Like, 1? And that was before I had Bear Totem?
I think so. And you were the one tanking most of the shots.
Yeah, I was like way ahead of everybody. I was just getting pelted with shit.
Yeah. Or if we look at our current Friday campaign that we run in 5e, our Barbarian has never been dropped and takes the least amount of damage of everybody except for our Druid, who doesn't come within 60 feet of enemies. And everybody else in the campaign has been dropped at least once.
Yep.
He's a ranger, first of all. I will not allow this ranger...
I also keep calling him a Druid, and I know he's not.
I will not allow for this ranger slander.
I know he's a Swarm Ranger, but he doesn't...
He's real druidy, though.
He's very druidy.
But yeah, no, it's
true. Need to sleep. Okay, but yes,
then we have a class
that instantly gives Brute, right? Or may as well be. But that instantly gives Brute the like, okay, yeah, these guys they're tanks. You won't run into that weird thing where like you're trying to roleplay being this like super tough badass, and you're the first one to get dropped in combat by like the first gunshot that goes off.
Yeah, it's I am the biggest badass. First one over the wall. First, well,
right?
Well, sucks for you, Chuck. All right, next guy.
Or at least this is like you at least get to RP this as like, you know, if you do take like get crit or some shit right off the bat, you at least get to RP that as okay. Literally, no one else could have taken that shot.
Yeah,
obviously. So. Cool. So those are, I think those are good for a base, right? That's really fucking powerful, honestly. An extra action, you're fast as fuck, boy, and you take only stamina damage from most sources.
Yeah.
That's big. I like this.
I do too.
But I think that's good for a base.
It feels solid.
Yeah.
Like, as a thing, it feels like a really solid thing. And obviously, some of this stuff is going to end up tuned down or tuned up or whatever.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
As a good point to start of like what we feel the level we can bring to a class, even at first level, I think this is awesome.
Yes.
Because one of my biggest complaints with 5e, and we've all talked about this, is you don't feel like your class at level 1 or 2, and honestly 3, even when you start getting class abilities, you still just feel like a level 1 character with more
finally
HP.
Started.
Yeah, you feel like a level 1 character with more HP. And you know, I want people to be able to, from first level, feel a solid difference in the fact that they picked a class and that they are a ancestry, they are a whatever. I want them to be able to feel the differences, and I want it to be apparent when you're doing character creation. Like, dude, my guy's Billy Badass, and he can take a freaking, sledgehammer to the face when he's, doing his fury mode. Like, he can do whatever. It's like, that's awesome. That's rad.
Dude, agreed. And I think that definitely starts it. So, as far as, I don't think we need to build out every humor thing yet. Well, we might need to. I think that's actually what we're on. Because we can't do boons and talents yet.
Yeah.
I think probably if we just try to get the basic things, we don't need to. We can't complete the classes yet, so I don't think we should spend a bunch of time getting every single specific down. We should just get kind of the direction down.
Yeah.
Especially once we figure out equipment and get boons and talents sorted. A few of these things we may want to leave ourselves a little bit of room to elaborate, basically.
Yeah, definitely.
But we can still look at these humors real quick and just get kind of our basic idea. My thought was like, so with the way that they use humors, I imagine it's like a concoction. Like, it's not just like, okay, just a dose of this humor. Mm-hmm. Like, they've got like a device or something like that they use, the like injector pack or something, to like do this. Do we want it to always have to have a specific kind of humor? Because I think they're only gonna, at least maybe at first level, or when you start, I think maybe they're only gonna get one of the specific humor benefits, and then maybe later they can start getting multiple on top of each other.
Mm-hmm. I feel like being able to have versatility later on is going to be important. Being able to use different, and even being able to up like how many doses you inject per thing, if you need
how
to,
many
for
you can physically take.
Yeah, for other effects and things like that.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things I thought of too. Is that like, instead of having, oh, you can rage this many rounds per day or this many times, it's leveling up is literally just like how many of these injections your body can handle.
Right. And that's one of those things too, is if it's like how many doses of humor your body can take. If you want to like super juice rage one time a day and put 3 in, that's going to use your whole amount.
And you might fuck yourself up pretty good, but
you know?
Yeah. You'll be a fucking psycho.
Yeah.
Mentats. No.
Exactly. You're going to take every single Fallout drug in your inventory all at once and
good times.
Try to prevent yourself from exploding from all of the drugs.
All because one guy went, fuck you. I was like, you know what?
Fuck me.
Every drug and every bottle of alcohol I'm carrying and every one I can pick up is going in my face.
You know, people always say how in Skyrim you can eat 80 wheels of cheese at once, but nobody ever talked about how in Fallout you can do all the drugs in half a second.
Yeah. Guys, I took every drug in my inventory and drank every bottle of alcohol. I was in Moriarty's bar, and a guy said, fuck you, and that's what set me off. And I had a lot of buff out. I had a lot of mentats, which I know are all for, like, mental stuff, but I took them anyway.
A lot of mentats, a lot of whiskey.
I had a lot of because I was selling it usually, and I hadn't got to sell it yet. And I just went on a rampage, just punching people's heads off.
Yelling,
literally punching people's heads off with spiked knuckles. And the best part of it is after I finished my blood rage inside of Moriarty's bar, by the time I walked out into the sun, all of it wore off at the same time. And then Stockholm just sniped me.
That was funny.
Which I like to imagine that as, like, he basically watched the, like, blood-covered Hulk walk out of the bar, turn back into Bruce Banner, and was like, nope! Ain't waiting to see what happens next on that shit. Anyway. Cool. So, I'm looking at the humors again. Let's see. Sanguine Biomancy. What's this do?
What is due?
Alter the blood, toxicity levels, yada yada yada. So, damn, that was intense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very Halloween-y. I was also looking at the humors, but for some reason, the humor text is all black on my dark background where everything else is white, and I don't know why.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah, that's real weird.
Okay,
so
Biomancy
I'm gonna have to pop this
alters-
out to read it.
It alters the blood, toxicity levels, rate of flow, air intake, 3 rounds of effect, and 1 condition effect baseline. Per dose, you get either plus 3 rounds of effect, plus 1 condition tracker effect, or you can do like a water breathing thing.
That would also be just cool. The injector with Sanguine, the Sanguine, you just also get to breathe underwater while you're raging.
Right?
It's like water breathing.
So, like, there's some stuff that I could think of, like, okay, you just add this effect to your Fury thing, but also,
Yeah.
I feel like there should be a way to make it scalable,
Yeah,
because whatever it is should last the duration of your Fury thing.
I agree with that.
Right.
It should last a duration. Yes.
Alter the blood. Because, like,
So
we could
being
just be
immune-
like, this makes you immune, but it's not scalable.
That's what I was gonna say.
Right.
You're immune
Yeah.
to poison effects for the duration of your fury. You're immune
Yeah.
to whatever, right? Those kind of things. And you can breathe underwater.
Yeah, it's just that it's not scalable.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
Going up, it's like, okay, this never gets better. You're already fucking immune. Which I'm okay with, because I imagine
The scalability at this point is just the length of time you're
the
able to
length
be
of
in the
time
effect.
it's going to keep you in the... Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's like, yeah, you make sure if you want to breathe underwater, just make sure you add some sanguine to it. Just put or an extra dose of sanguine, essentially.
Yeah.
I guess we should also figure out what is the base concoction, right? Because people are going to need to collect humors for shit and make this, or at least go get it, right? So I don't want to say it's like one of each, right? It should be like, in my head, I feel like it's like a dose, like 1 Emira, right? Since it's kind of in a lot of everything. And then maybe we go like Emira, like let's kind of match the effects a little bit. Emira for baseline, sanguine blood because it just makes sense. It's got to go into your bloodstream, right? But also controls your blood flow and things. So it like triggers the adrenaline. I guess we could kind of keep that in. Maybe it does take 1 of each. Fuck. The damage mitigation type of shit off of. Melancholic
yeah.
is part of the base. Enigmatic has also like temp HP / HP mitigation. Choleric is the rage part. I mean, I guess we could just say 1 dose of each is the baseline.
Yeah, or well,
you add
it would
1 extra for if you want a specific additional effect.
Yeah, I mean, so we look at it this way, I guess, is your...
Well, like, so when I say... So, like, this would be like you take 1 dose of each and you get a batch of these, right? So you wouldn't just be like, okay, you need 1 of each of these to make 1 use of this ability.
I'm just thinking,
right?
because I'm trying to think of if you're going to have these, like, pre-mixed because you're not gonna be able to mix them on the fly. That's more of what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So if you're doing the extra doses in them, they're gonna have to be pre-mixed, which means you're gonna have to know in your inventory that you're pre-mixed. That was the only hang-up I was on. Is that you're gonna have to keep track in your inventory of which doses are which.
It's true. Unless, let's say this, like, I mean, because going back to the blurb, I just said they had like an injector pack or something. Unless we just say that that's sophisticated enough that you can use it to, like, flip on extra.
It's got like a little dial thing, basically.
Right.
That, like, as long as you've got the humors
exactly
on you, because if you don't have them, obviously you can't swap to it. But yeah, I think that's fine. Because I was gonna think
because you have like your base doses, and then it's just like, okay, well, I just make sure it has these other humors loaded into it in case I want to use one of them.
Because then you can twist it around. Because that was my only concern, is that it would feel like then you're kind of like almost preparing your spells at the beginning of the day, where you're like, oh, I'm gonna pick which concoctions I have, so I have to know.
There's also that like minute inventory management that we're not going to be able
avoid.
to avoid, so let's lessen it as much as we can.
We're trying to avoid as much as possible, I guess. So yeah, I like that the injector thing just allows you to adjust on the fly. I think that makes sense. So that way, as we add different ones, it'll change it around. We add more to it. Because obviously having a base concoction where it's one dose of each makes your whole batch for the day, I guess. But really, I guess if it's one of each humor, that's 5 total. So it makes you 5 batches each time you do it.
I'd be okay with it being up to 10.
Well, sure. I was just saying one dose makes 5 batches, but your body can still only take so many. So it doesn't matter if you have 5. You can still only take 3, let's say. Right? It doesn't matter how many you have. But I guess that makes sense for that way you have multiple days of supply at a time when you make it, because it's obviously going to be difficult to make it. Ascertain all of the ones. But I want to say too, we could probably have a mechanic where if you for some reason have to hasty batch it and you don't have all of them, you get like a penalty.
Right.
But I don't know
partial.
off the top of my head right now what that is, and I think that might be a thing we have to worry about in the future, because I feel like there's a lot of like mathing into that we're gonna have to think about. But that way people can do that thing where it's like, well, I only have 4 out of 5. Like, what am I gonna do? Need to do something. We really gotta find, Sanguine boys, because I can't find them anywhere.
Also, honestly, I feel like that might be I forget which is which between boons and talents. But I feel like it might be one of those where like you can create partial batches if you need to. I don't think that's something everyone can do. Right?
I think that would be kind of cool. Yeah, making partial batches. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So base concoction is 1 of each humor. Extra doses of single humor. Added via what was it called? Injection pack. Right. We'll say it makes. Or let's see. 1 batch is. Are you okay with 10 doses, or do we go down to 5?
I mean, 10 is fine right now. I just said 5 because there's 5 of each humor and we're making it. But if we split it to where
mixed equal parts, and
the way it's mixed up, 10 is fine with me. I'm super jelly. Sorry, my mom was texting me about stuff with my daughter for Halloween. I apologize for being on my phone, but then I got an alert and I saw somebody who had a fucking 4-foot Mareep plush. And as we all know, Mareep is one of my favorite Pokemon of all time.
Hide it. He's on the hunt for it.
So, I want
if you have a 4-foot.
I want a sheep-sized Mareep plush. Yes.
Available boons. Okay. I'm not. Yeah. Okay. This is humor. Respect 10 doses. Oh, free mechanic. One action to use. Determine the action cost. It's not free.
Right.
Like, obviously, it's like pressing a button or thingy or whatever, but like, there's that time of like hulking up.
Yeah, the
A few seconds. Yeah.
The power up time.
Cool. So that's definitely a mechanic for them. That's their big one.
Yeah, I like it.
What others should they have? What? Like, because this is really powerful, and obviously it's very combat focused. We want to give them some kind of choice at level 1, like a this isn't a rage powers thing, but a what's the word? God damn it! A feature that has like a number of abilities you can pick from. You know, we want to give them something like that at first level. That's not specific in the Fury mechanic, like a separate thing, right?
No, I'm trying to think. I think that would be cool.
I can tell you thematically what I'm imagining.
Yeah, go for it.
As like where it's coming from is because I'm seeing this as like a specialized type of like soldier or combatant of some kind or whatever that has been trained in how to use this serum and all sorts of combat and yada yada yada. I'm imagining they have a feature that is their body getting used to this serum and maybe retaining some like strange effects that make them a little bit extra even outside of their Fury mechanic, right? Like they've just got a little bit just still in their bloodstream at all times, so that it's actually stable. Which will also explain why they can use it and other people can't just inject it and be the Hulk.
Totally, that's what I was going to say. And so here's one thing we could do. We could base it off of which humor thingy you are.
Your heritage.
Your heritage, yeah. We could base this off your heritage as well. You get a bonus based off of which heritage you are. Like each heritage gets this specific bonus.
Okay, yeah, that would be that. I think we should do that. That takes out the you pick which bonus thing you're going to get, but I still like that as an idea.
Yeah,
that might be
it
better.
Still comes down to player choice because this way too, based off of what heritage you are, based on whatever, you're getting a bonus in your class as well. But I do think picking something different, like having another meaningful choice on a skill or something like maybe a specific boon thing where you get to pick, like, do you want to be...
I think because you're going to get to pick your boons and talents, I think with the thing you just suggested, I think I'm okay with if the meaningful choice class-wise is held off a level or two at that point. Because now you're getting a lot.
And and I was going to say too, I think in the boons, we just need to make it set up too to where these people can pick, do I want to be like a finesse style or do I want to be just straight up smashy pants or whatever? And in your boons is going to be where that choice comes in.
Agreed,
a lot of times.
Agreed.
Because then it's like, okay, I've got my setup right here and I know that I want to always kind of try and err towards like the melancholic to where I'm extra beefy tanky man and that's all I do is I just tank like crazy, or if they're like, oh well, I really want to be like super swift fluid person, so I go hard into phlegmatic humor and I have that like weird elasticity thing or whatever. I don't know, I'm freaking Baki the Grappler. Whatever it is, but you can build around that using boons and then also how you mix your serum. And if you've got boons that are like straight up like the partials, and it's like, oh, okay, well, if you can do a partial where you exclude one but double up on another one, then you get the bonus of having a doubled, basically, but you don't get whatever this extra thing is. Let's say, whatever it is. It's like, okay, there's a negative, but there's also a positive. You're still using 5 humors to make your batch, but you don't need 1. So if you're sanguine and it's way easier for you to get sanguine humor and you can double up on sanguine every time and you take this boon, sick, I'm going to do this, and then you kind of build your fighting style around the bonuses you get in sanguine, which is water breathing and being immune to poison, right? You're like, I don't know, running in there with freaking toxic gas cloud bombs or something and you're just a nightmare, weakening everybody around you while your constitution doesn't change. You're like literally fighting in toxic gas clouds and just knocking people's heads off.
They can't even fucking see.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And you're just like swinging. Then you can take like a blind fighting boon too, where you don't take a minus for being in
Right.
like, fog. And you're in fog, they're in fog. They can't breathe. You can breathe. It's fine.
Yeah, you
Just
can
imagine-
breathe. Nobody can see, but you don't need to see.
Yeah, exactly.
Or you're just, or you can't see either, but you're just like, hey, everybody else, stay the fuck out of this, because
exactly.
I'm just swinging.
Because then you take like a broad cleave style thing or whatever, like, and you've got like a big hammer, a big sword or whatever, and you're just doing those big sweeps, and it's like anybody in this range is getting clipped.
Right.
So I'm just taking big swings.
So, okay, so I found it's in what's a character.
Okay.
Boons we defined as passive constant effects that benefit characters. So something like a weapon finesse type of thing that isn't a thing you activate, it just fits. Versus talents are actions or abilities the character can do or use outside of their normal ones.
Okay.
So that's pretty much the only distinction we've made so far.
So something like blind
obviously
fight
we'll
would be a
have-
boon then, if we're
Yes.
trying to categorize these, because that
Yeah.
means okay, I can fight in fog or I can fight in whatever, and then like a talent would be a thing
Power
like
attack or
yeah,
a meta
cleave,
magic
whatever,
feat. Yeah.
those kind of things. Those are going to be talents. Yeah, the ability to do the big horizontal swing where it's like okay, I can hit multiple
It's the
opponents.
you
And,
choose to do.
yeah.
Okay. That being said, we know there will be class specifics of each, and then class neutral ones as well.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure we'll have probably heritage specific ones as well. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah.
But
Who knows?
Cool.
We might have, instead of heritage specific, we might have heritage exclusatory, whatever I'm trying to say, where you can take this
where
as
you
long as
can't
you're
be-
not
yeah.
this. Yeah. You
Right.
can't be sanguine and take this.
Makes sense for some.
Yeah. I don't know. We'll burn that bridge when we get there.
So we'll say, okay, so let's go back to the heritage-based thingamajig.
Yeah.
We'll call this heritage mechanic, something with blood, because makes sense. This is just like a gimme at that level. Humors and recovery. I don't think that's what I'm looking for. Where is the thing? Races and cultures. Is this the right one? It is. So should we make this based on some of the humor consumption bonuses that we've already defined, or just based on some other little thing about the heritage?
Let's see. Which says the wrong. Open the wrong thing. Hold on.
Because we did define some consume this humor to gain this benefit on each of them.
We did.
We could. Well, yeah, we don't want them necessarily having. We want this to be equivalently a boon, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
So we want these to be. I imagine we want these to be passive effects,
Yeah.
right? Because the whole fury mechanic is one big activated effect. Where these are things that would just kind of be nice. It's like, oh, cool, I just have this.
Yeah.
So maybe we don't base it on what they do when they consume a humor.
Right. I think something passive is good.
Because the consuming a humor thing too is, well, shit. That's the thing that we could maybe add to as like what is it? Heritage specific boons or talents that are like heritage and class specific even at this point, where it's like whatever you use, your rage mechanic thing, you get this benefit because of your heritage as well. But I think that should be outside of this.
Okay.
Personally.
Yeah. Trying to think what we could do that would work well with these, because each one obviously needs one if we're doing this. And let's see.
Because we could say maybe the Sangha, like maybe their bite attack is stronger, or
That's one of the things I was looking at as well, was doing extra bite attack damage, or doing trying to do something with where you can like strength out instead of acrobatics. I don't know, because
I think
they
they're
have
more
a
acrobatic.
yeah, they are more acrobatic, but
Yeah.
you I don't know, trying to find a way to also roll it in with the stuff that they can already do, right? You know, you don't want to go too far away from what they already do.
Or especially if we can make this something not specific to combat too, to give them an out of combat cool thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
That maybe it's applicable in combat, but it's not combat specific.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be good if these were all something like that. Like maybe oh, hold on. Shit. We don't really have strength. I was gonna say, oh, you could add like your strength to acrobatics. That doesn't make any sense in this system.
Yeah. So I was trying to think of that too.
Talent.
Something similar where you get to add like something extra specifically to your acrobatics, because a lot of times when you're a big bulky dude, that's not something you put a lot of points in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we want to.
No, granted, if they're already Sangha, they already get talent in acrobatics.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's cool. And then they can choose to get training in it, because it's a body skill.
Yep.
You can be acrobatic as fuck, actually.
You really could. I was actually thinking the reverse of what we were going to say, which was you can add something to your acrobatics. We get to add our acrobatics to something else.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, because that's already something we're good at, being Sangha, right?
So maybe they can add... Or maybe they can... no, that I was going to say, maybe they can substitute acrobatics for athletics.
Yeah.
But I don't think that'll get used a lot. But also, it doesn't make sense in some cases.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of ways we can use...
Let's look at the motherfucking skills. Where are they?
Yeah.
What's character? What's character?
Yeah, it's in what's character.
We could just fucking... Oh, hold on. We could add it to dodge.
I was just looking at the dodge.
That's some
Get to add your acrobatics to dodge is wild. Like, that's so good. You're so good at dodging things.
Or... I don't know how powerful that is. Because I would say either that or they can substitute acrobatics for dodge, which means they don't need to worry about putting skills in dodge.
Things in dodge, yeah. Your acro is just your dodge at that point.
Yeah. Because if we say adding it as a bonus, then we could run into situations where it's like, okay, but you don't actually have training in these, so you can't make this roll, or you don't actually have points in dodge. So...
Yeah.
Whatever,
if you just substitute acro, that means you get to put points in a whole different skill category instead of dodge. You don't even have to consider it like a thing.
So that even further maxes them more onto the body skills, which is kind of funny.
Body skills and other stuff. You get to go, oh, like, great. I don't have to worry about dodge at all. I get to just,
I like that.
Yeah, I get to just put it in my grappling so I can bite people easier. Because I can only bite them when they were grappled, so I might as well up my grappling.
My grappling.
So I want to bite them.
Acrobatics for dodge. I'll treat dodge skill as if it has same proficiency and bonuses as those applied to acrobatics. Cool. Sweet. Okay, cool. Sangha. That works. Okay, the Melanch. These feel like the go-to for the Brute. Even though they're naturally, like, kind of chill, they're also fucking big and intimidating, you know?
Yes.
So... I feel like these guys are some of the go-tos, and then probably the Kalir are some of the go-tos.
Yeah. So, this one, I mean, we get that where you begin play with talent in athletics, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to do the same kind of thing where we get to use our athletics instead of
like
something?
Yeah, instead of something. What would be a good one?
This is the one where we could substitute acrobatics for athletics, where you just brute force your way through things, or you substitute. You get to use, instead of like, I don't know, whichever unarmed strikes, you just straight up use your athletics instead of unarmed. Hold
on, Dave. Hold on.
Oh, go for it.
Since we both DM, I get to ask you this. So describe for me.
Oh yeah.
Someone substituting athletics for acrobatics, doing the like Mario wall jump to get to the top of the
structure. Have you ever watched Doomsday Climb a Wall? How Doomsday climbs a wall is he makes dents in the wall and he uses those. That was my thought. Smash. Chunks out of the wall. Like, I don't need to wall hop. I made a hole in the wall. I made my own handholds.
Okay, what about walking a tightrope?
That's a much harder one. At that point, I just grab the tightrope and I pull whatever I'm walking towards to me.
Other whole fucking building just
just like,
or they just run across it and you're like, have you tried being a world-class athlete?
Have you tried being a world-class athlete?
That's what they just did. Just fucking sprinted.
I know we put this tightrope across the Grand Canyon, but I'm gonna just pull that side of the Grand Canyon to this side of the Grand Canyon. It's fine.
Way easier. Trust me. No. But no, I think
unfortunately just doesn't fit well on a lot of situations.
I actually think if we go with the same kind of idea of substituting for a defensive skill, athletics for block. Yeah. Which, again, means they don't have to...
You get to, at that point, you get to be Tank Man, where you just run through things. You're like,
you get to no-sell shit, like WWE style. Yeah. Like when like a flippy person tries to like chop or drop kick like one of the fucking huge dudes, and you just and just fall off. Oh,
talking about combat sports, you get to
what happened?
Ngannou and just walk through Tyson Fury, elbowing you in the face on accident.
Didn't even blink, dude. Didn't even blink. Just nothing.
He moved backwards because of the force of the blow, and then immediately came back forwards. There wasn't even that like, what? It was just like smack, go forward. It was wild.
It's a good thing nobody watches these because we'd have comments only talking about this. I think that fucking elbow was intentional. I think he got frustrated.
You know,
and threw some kind of dirty shit.
I watched that clip a lot, and that elbow.
It's the way it changes
over the top.
Yeah,
like
it
was not.
It's not like he shortened up a short right hook or something.
It was a Muay Thai over the top elbow, man.
It's like, what punch were you throwing? That would make no sense.
His head.
Yeah.
I thought that too. After
I think he was trying to cut him because he couldn't hurt him. I think he was trying to cut him, man, and he didn't.
I watched that clip way too many times of Francis getting elbowed.
Shout out Francis Ngannou. I know you're never gonna ever see this video, but like, well done, my dude.
Yeah, no, that was god dang. I watched that clip a lot, and then I watched the clip of him getting the knockdown a lot of times. I watched that
perfect left hook. Fury tried to say that was on the back of the head. I'm like, bro, you can't say that when people have video footage of it hitting you like right perfectly behind the ear. That's a perfect left hook.
If I got hit by Francis Ngannou, I would also think it hit me in the back of the head. That's because he hit me so goddamn hard, my nerves short-circuited.
Also, the scary thing is like it wasn't even the hardest left hook. No. It was just that's what came out at that moment. It was quick.
It was also.
I was like, bro, if he got to sit down on that,
Tyson, I think that was the back of your head hitting the canvas, not Tyson's.
His face too, like,
oh god,
shit.
Yeah,
that
was wild. That was wild. Anyways,
we're
gonna get back on track. Nobody gives a shit about this except for Patrick and I, and I know you're into fight fans everywhere, but the people watching this don't care.
So, cool. Yeah. So I like athletics to block. I think works.
I like that.
Melanch. I'm just gonna copy and paste this, and then change the correct stuff. Though that feels like a very Dom move, so I'm gonna say Dom athletics to. No, I'm kidding. For block. Treat block skill as if it has the same proficiency and bonuses as those applied to athletics. Alright. Next, Flieger. the water people, I believe. Yes.
Yeah, they get a bonus in perception. Is their normal thing. And what I was thinking at this point is we just get to make, like, we don't take negatives to attacks that are in partial cover because their eyes are so good or whatever. So like they don't enemies against them don't get partial cover for, like, let's say, like, close range, like in a certain, like, close range. You still get full cover or whatever, obviously, but, like, because their eyes are so good, because they're whatever, so their senses of perception are so good, you're not going to get partial cover against these guys.
Yeah, could. I don't know. That's good. I was thinking in, like, the same. Mine's a little weirder, I guess. I was thinking in, like, the same lines of, like, oh, you just get to apply this skill to this skill instead of I was thinking of you get to do perception for unnatural. Not for, like, knowledge or, like, knowing things, but of detecting them.
That actually, I really like that too. You basically have ghost vision.
Yeah.
Like, you get to do. Nobody gets to watch our Wednesday game, so you don't know. You get to smell ghosts like Cardinal does.
Right. But yeah, that just, like, being able to, like, detect that something's weird, that we already said you could do with the unnatural skill, it's just, like, detecting something unnatural in the area. But you get
that physical perception skill to it because you're so physically adept. I like that too. Because the one I'm using is basically only usable in combat, and we did talk about wanting to use these skills outside of combat.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, honestly. Okay, yeah.
We can do that, or which I also like. The other thing of working off partial cover thing is you don't take penalties for like a certain level of, like, fog or whatever, obstruction.
That's one's hard to determine.
But yes, that's what I was about to say. Is that's getting into some weird, like, how much fog, this much fog, this much. What we'd have to. I feel like at that point we have to come up with levels of obscuring, like how much obscuring.
We probably will, but.
I'm sure we will, but I just mean we don't have that right now, so I'm fine with doing this. And if we decide we want to fix it or go back, or this is a perfect thing for if we do, like, a sharpshooter style class, they get to do that, where they get to go, fog doesn't bother me because, and that works better, I think, for that style of class anyways than this one.
True, yeah.
Like the agent, let's say, if we're looking at our old classes, like the agent, right? Who, they would do better at, I can see through, like, obscuring one or whatever we name it, as if it's not there.
Tolerating perception, I was looking through the thing again to be like, is there anything else we're missing that could be a little bit outside the norm instead of just having the same kind of deal? Yeah. The only other thing I can think of is, like, to, like, super expand that breath holding ability, so we can make them effectively have water breathing.
Yeah,
which
I get to hold my breath for 5 minutes. Be like, what? Are you a freaking lizard?
Right,
my dude.
These guys, Fleega can already hold their breath for 1 hour when submerged.
Yeah. What is?
That's not just on land. That's only when submerged.
What is the animal that can hold its breath for that long? It was Friday. I swear to God, it was Friday campaign. No, I know. But it was Friday campaign. It was something we were talking about on Friday. And we were doing something with some fucking animal. And I looked up this animal for some reason about why it can hold its breath as long. I was like, this is dumb and doesn't matter to this. But now I, like, have it stuck in my brain. I didn't even bring it up during the campaign. I was just like, oh, this is weird. Okay, keep going. It just, like, was dumb. Like, oh well. So the
holding the breath thing is. So it's cool. It's just that, like, so few things are going to be aquatic. Yeah.
Right.
I feel like people are going to expect to have that. It's just not super applicable.
Yeah, I don't think for this kind of bonus, for a class bonus, it matters. It was cool as a tack-on thing for the...
Yeah, just to add it to this.
Yeah, works. But, like, for this, I think the class bonus, just being able to use that for unnatural stuff is really cool. I like that. I like the, like, perception of things that most people cannot see with physical senses kind of style,
Yeah.
That being able to detect
Yeah. Plus, they're like descendants of the mer people, and they get some.
You get that like weird wild sense almost, if you want to call it that, where they're like that itching in the back of your teeth. And you're like, I know weird stuff's going on, but it's just with their physical senses.
Fliga.
Ooh.
May substitute.
Collar is investigate.
Perception for natural checks. Used to detect the unnatural. Cool. It's just them having a bit of extra sauce running through the veins. Cool. Kalir, the one that most of us identified with because they peaked in high school.
Burnout gifted kids.
Not even that, though. We're burnout gifted kids, really what it is. Yeah.
Burnout gifted kids. So they get that bonus in investigate, is what it says. And
oh god, investigate to perception is too strong.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
I had that thought. It's too much.
Because that was my first thought too, and I was like, I think that's way too strong.
We could let their tails use weapons, which is stupid.
Yes, tails can use weapons. Anyways, that's still very combat-y, though. Is the problem?
It's very combat-y. It's almost exclusively combat-y, so I'm trying not to do that. We'll make that like a boon or something. Maybe, I don't know. I'm gonna look back at our video where we made this and see if I said "fuck no, never" in that video, and then I'll stick with that. But if I didn't say that, that might be a boon or something later. Tell them investigate. They do get a tail. I kind of want to do something with the tail. I don't know what. I feel like it being a tail and do what a tail can do is already what a tail is expected to do.
Yeah,
I don't think we have to add anything.
Add extra stuff. I was trying to think of, because Kalera are very mind-based in a lot of ways. If we could do something where, because I know the fatigue stuff affects mental stats as well as physical stats. If we could somehow ignore a mental like drop from that or something, I was trying to think of a way to do that, but I can't really phrase it the way I want to get like what I want out of it. If that makes sense. Because I'm just like,
man, it's hard. It's just my first thought was like, well, investigate instead of perception. No.
Yeah, I wanna use.
It's too much.
I also did that where I was trying to find a good physical way to use this other stat, and it's just like, because you're gonna, in order to be a good, brawler, bruiser, whatever, brick motherfucker.
This is for this class. So.
You need good physical stats generally. You want good body stats. You're not gonna have the best mind stats. So I was trying to think of a way to use the body stats in the mind category here.
God, right? Yeah, to get to mitigate some of that, to be like, we don't want to replace the investigation.
No.
We want it to be able to augment something. Oh God, no! I was gonna say, we could have it. You'd be able to add your investigate to perception, but that is stacking two skills. I feel like is just gonna be incredibly broken.
Because we could replace perception with investigate, but I feel like you're gonna go down at that point.
Yeah.
Because generally, you're
perception's
gonna have
body.
Yeah, you're gonna have the higher body stats, so you're actually going down in your skill level of what you can do. Unless we don't
want to assume they're gonna have a good perception.
No,
either,
well, here's what we can do. You can use instead of your mind stat as a modifier for investigation, you get to use your body stat.
Oh, so, that could work.
Yeah, so that way.
Oh shit! Wait a minute. No.
What?
Technically, that can already be done.
Oh yeah.
Because it's always So there's we don't have like a precedent to like force that. We could say you can always,
yeah,
right?
And with
that's gonna get us. That's 100% gonna get us in trouble, right?
Well, yeah.
Because there's gonna be a weird situation where it makes no fucking sense.
And I know we're gonna have to change it, But yeah, and we'll also just say there's no negatives associated. Because I think one of the things we talked about was doing that makes it to where there's negatives associated sometimes when you're swapping which stat you're using. But in this case, there's no negatives associated. You just get to do it.
God, this already feels really whingy compared to the others. I feel like we can do better.
I do as well. But I don't know what else we can do on this one.
Yeah.
I'm struggling.
Let me read. I'm going to glance through their thing and see if maybe there's some other thing. Oh, God.
While you do that, I'm going to run to the restroom real fast, and then I'll be back.
Discolored birthmarks, born flexible prehensile tails, black sclera, high body temperature, impulsive, cunning. They have a fucking tail.
I've been browsing home decorations on on Home Depot, and they straight up have like a very Templar-looking helmet for like armor decor. Like they have like the half-size suits of armor, but they have a helmet. And I was like, "What the fuck?" I clicked on it, and the top question is, "Can you wear this?" And the maker's reply is like, "This is intended for interior decorating, not for wearing." And that's just the answer they gave. I'm like, that didn't answer that question.
That did not answer the question.
That did not answer. And then I scrolled down a little bit. It says frequently bought together, and it was that helmet, and then it was a pair of suit like gauntlets, like medieval gauntlets. And I was like, yeah.
Somebody's wearing that shit. Yeah.
I clicked on the gauntlets, and the gauntlets look very like the top of them look like medieval gauntlets. And you flip it around, they're like welding gloves underneath. So I'm like, oh, so it's more. That's practical. Like whoever's making this is like, I want to make it so you can actually wear it and wear it, and do stuff. I was like, oh, okay. Somebody is sourcing their stuff to Home Depot, and I kind of dig it. A lot of gun sculptures as well. Like, I don't know. Looks like a shotgun that somebody drew in the second grade, sculpture. That kind of looks like it was made from a real shotgun, but like, it's like somebody wanted to be a gunsmith, but they had scraps of wood and pipe. Yeah. I don't know.
Right.
So they decided to be a sculptor instead.
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. It's also like $200. You can buy a real shotgun for that and actually look right. For decor, at least. Yeah. But yes. Now that you're back, I can stop filling for time.
Yeah, this one's tough. I forgot to look at the fucking skills. There may be another skill we can sub-investigate for. Not for, but like... Be like, oh, you can use this instead of... it. I'm just trying to think of one that might actually be helpful. Nah, survival doesn't make sense.
It's really hard on the perception.
Right? Ugh. Maybe a soul skill, investigate, vibe check, sense motive.
Yeah.
We can use it
I
for
just
the
feel like
vibe
you're not
check.
going to have as good of a buff on that is the problem.
It won't be as good of a buff. It's definitely not as potent on what we imagine as the iconic version of this, right? If you're not gonna like throw a little bit extra in there, but
so you're getting to use your investigate instead of your sense motive, your vibe check or whatever.
So if you do want to be able to like figure out what people are about or up to or whatever, but you really don't want to spend one of your 2 fucking skills you get in soul stats, like maybe you want to craft.
Yeah.
Or handle animals well. Or maybe you want to put points in unnatural so you can sense them since you're not a fucking Fleega. You don't get that automatically.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not as strong.
I think anything though that saves you from having to put points into something
that you might want
is really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's allowing you to double up. It's essentially making 1 skill 2 skills.
Yeah. And it actually means your brute is good at putting clues together, which is kind of fun. Which also still points to that Collier heritage, too. Of being like, okay, we're not necessarily the same meathead as people think you are. Like, you're actually kind of fucking investigative.
I'm definitely down to go with that.
Yeah, I like it. If people hate it later, then we'll change it. Hopefully they come with better suggestions if they hate it.
Yeah. So if Mira have a natural talent, or have a talent rating in a natural, automatically.
Oh, jeez. I don't even know what the
Right? Right?
Investigation for... Since... I'm just going to call it vibe check, because that's what we called it earlier. Create vibe check. A skill as if it had the same proficiency as it was applied to investigation. Alright, Mira. Is this going to be the one that breaks the mold that we do something different with?
Might have to be.
Yeah, dude, a natural's a tough one. What is that even? Talent rating in a natural. They can already see in the dark. Their other thing is humor-based, and they have... soul-related stuff, which is interesting. Looking at the skills. Anything else make fucking sense for unnatural? That isn't gonna pigeonhole us into combat stuff.
Man, other than doing something like the persuade skill, because we know that Imura are naturally charming people.
Yeah.
And all that is then you're using your unnatural to basically know a person's like aura kind of thing, and you're just like,
granted, that's using it for something that is pretty implicitly natural.
Yeah,
you know,
so
it's kind of tying, which I know is the issue with this. It's like just tying it to another skill is kind of weird. Mm-hmm. We can't tie it to lore because that doesn't make any sense. Because occult is kind of like, oh, that's cool, but you won't just know. Well, shit, we're talking about unnatural stuff. Unnatural, not unknown. Not unknown, unnatural. So we can't do that either. We can, but it's kind of weird. They could sub it for... They could do supernal forces, which is weird. But again, that is also technically natural in our world.
Yeah. It's also soul to soul. I don't know.
It's also soul to soul, which is stupid. It still gives you 2 skills for 1, but it's like...
Yeah, which is great. But at that point, if we're going to do 2 skills for 1, why don't we just give somebody 1 free skill?
Right, yeah.
You just get to pick a thing. Go for it.
That's what it would be, which is like...
Just pick something.
It doesn't really fit with the, like... This is coming from you pumping drugs into your system for so long and your heritage blossoming. But you're right, it's like, okay, why didn't you just do that? Because... Or we could go the other way and make it subbed in for primal forces, because those are not natural. And it is a mind skill.
Mm-hmm.
But it's understanding, so that's still weird. So yeah, what would be a thing that would be really rooted in their heritage doing something they can already see in the dark, but it's black and white, which I think doesn't... I mean, that changes things, but making it in color isn't a big enough cool thing, right? Or... No. I don't want to do a catch-all. I thought of like... Or like maybe it gives you one of the other heritage abilities, but then it's like, okay, well, why pick other stuff?
Yeah, you just pick a Mura and then pick whatever heritage bonus you want.
Like, I won't get their other stuff, but like...
Yeah.
Come on. There's got to be something we can do with that. Unnatural's too weird to apply to something else.
Yep.
Like, getting perception to a specific type of unnatural check is one thing. And then reverse engineering that is kind of boring. Fuck. I mean, shit, we could... Talent... I was gonna say we could just up their proficiency on an unnatural.
We could do that.
Off rip. Like,
yeah.
But I don't know... Oh, shit, no, that's right. Did we talk about this? How skills would go above the 5?
I don't know if we talked about this on air.
Maybe not on camera, but okay.
I don't think we talked about it on camera.
Because I was thinking, basically, you have your 5... This is for the audience, because I think me and you have talked about it. So you have your 5 natural levels of proficiency. You have talent, training, practice, experience, accomplishment.
Yeah.
And then there are 5 supernatural levels. So... that you can end up getting to a total of 10, but the supernatural levels are going to come from things, not just you leveled up and picked it because you got an extra point or whatever, right? Have to come from like gear or finishing a quest that gives you some kind of blessing or some kind of shit, right? Or it's temporary from a class ability. It wouldn't come from just, okay, you put a point in the thing. So we could give the Amira a supernatural, one of 5 supernatural benefits to unnatural. It'd be the only thing that starts with a supernatural boon.
Yep. We could do that. And since, okay, there's 5 benefits in there. I forget if these are these like level based, or are these for the unnaturals? They're just 5 separate things, or are they all like like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or are they all just like 8? This doesn't make any sense, but I hope it makes sense. A, B, C, D, E, F, right? Or A, B, C, D, E. Where in level based, it is obviously you go up based on how good they are, or where they're just 5 different things.
I think there were just 5 different things when I first pitched it.
It's fine, because if we do 5 classes, if we do this on Amira, we can just literally do this for everybody, where they get 1 of each, and then all 5 are covered. Amira automatically starts with 1, but they're all different. Because that way they're not level based, they're all mostly equivalent, and then everybody gets a specific one that then fits that class better if we have 5 main classes.
You lost me a little bit.
Okay. All right. We have 5 main classes, right?
Right.
Go with. That's what were originals. There are 5 supernatural benefits.
Yes.
They're all relatively even. Each class gets a specific different one if you're Amira. So Amira in every class is you get a supernatural whatever, but you don't pick. It's a specific one based on the class you are. So that way, all of this class gets Amira A. All of Wanderer gets Amira C. All of Invoker gets Amira B. Right?
We could do that, but that's only if we did each heritage gets an additional bonus in every class, which I wasn't super keen on personally.
That's fair too. I wasn't necessarily thinking we could either. I was thinking this is specifically a weird Amira thing where each heritage gets
a boon where it gives it to you.
Yeah, you could have a boon. This is just a specific thing that Amira can do for the classes in order to get supernatural, where each class is only linked to one specific Amira talent, or Amira whatever, where it's supernatural. But you can obviously get others, but it only comes like as a freebie with a thing, right? If you take a boon that does this, it's the freebie one for your class. Because there's 5, we could associate them with each class. We don't have to, but this is just a thought for the future. But I do like giving yourself or giving them one supernatural one for this. That's cool.
Yeah, because those are hard to get, but they basically stack with anything, so to speak. You know.
Yeah.
Ugh, excuse me.
Exactly.
Like it doesn't lock you out of getting your training, practice, or any of that stuff. It's just extra.
Yeah, it's just an extra thing.
Okay, yeah, I think we'll do that. Which fits sort of how a lot of the things with the Amira have gone. They're pretty straightforward. It's like, this is the thing you get. This is what you get. This is what you get. Yep. It's fucking useful. Fucking dark vision. Nobody else gets that. So, check. Okay, Amira. So yeah, and I don't know, we haven't talked about whether each supernatural is going to have its own classification either. but like it could be interesting. I feel like it sounds like an optional rule thing. Like there's a supernatural talent, supernatural training, supernatural yada yada yada, where it's like, oh, it's that next level thing. Right now, not necessary. So Mira gain 1 supernatural proficiency in unnatural. Neat. All right, cool. We got those done. That's kind of a cool class thing, though. Like,
yeah.
You're just you get a benefit from your class based on what your heritage is because you got weird shit in your bloodstream.
Yep, because you're coursing with like weirdly, supernal energy or whatever.
Yeah. I'll put in this. This feature is also what allows you to use the Fury Mechanics concoction. So that gives us the in-play reason why, if you're not this class, you don't have this feature, using that fucking concoction is probably just going to fuck you up real bad.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Your body will just reject it immediately.
Yeah, your body will be like, no, thank you.
Get it and all of the blood out. Wait, I need some of that. No. You have lost your blood privileges. Okay. Cool. So there's those two mechanics, and then we don't need a meaningful choice mechanic right now. They get Fury, they get a cool thing from their heritage, the other proficiencies, yada yada yada. It's 2 things. Ultimately, that's still 2 things. Is that good? Are we good there? I don't know. So you get your Fury deal, and then you get, for example, a skill substitution.
Yeah.
And then whatever we come with for boons and talents.
Yeah, I think base class stuff it's probably good. I want to say you probably get like a free weapon proficiency boon thing. Like you just get to pick one when you start. Not like, hey, you get these boons or whatever, but with being this, you just get an additional one for free. Because that's what you're doing, is being proficient with weapons. So it's just like, just pick a weapon proficiency for free. You can have another one. You can use your boons however you want, but you get 1 free weapon proficiency boon when you are this class, just off the rip. Like, however we do our weapon proficiency, whether it's not a boon, whether it's whatever. But
they sound like boons, yeah. But
because they set up like boons because they're passive and they exist all the time, right? That's why I say it like
yeah.
But you just get one.
Yeah, we'll get to determine how many weapon proficiencies they're going to get once we figure out gear, though.
Yeah,
so we'll just make sure that they have a higher number than everyone else.
You just get one off the rip for free, extra, whatever. Yeah, just like that.
We'll just make sure it's higher than they have a higher number than others of selections, I guess would be the. But yeah, I think as far as features go, that feels solid because we kind of have to err on the side of not just front loading absolutely everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because then people will just level dip and never look at the rest of it. Which I'm totally okay with people level dipping into a thing to be like, these benefits are sick, I want it, it will make my character look good and do what I want it to do. Go for it. But, the rest of it has to also work. I think those are solid.
This is going to be a system where level dipping is possible, but is also something that you can only really pull off if you're already doing that same kind of thing. Like, I don't think you're going to be able to level dip into this and then be a vastly different character for other stuff, like be an invoker necessarily. It's just going to be too hard to try and really balance those two things. Or you're just going to end up not using a lot of your stuff. Is the thing. It's like, I have all these abilities. Yeah, but you use half of them.
Yeah. And also because we're a 10 level system, it's a much bigger setback than when you have 20 levels to go across, right?
That's true.
Or if you're not leveled if it's like experience spent for
I think
benefit.
level dipping will be useful. It is just going to be one of those things that you got to do with thought.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just do it to do it because you think the benefits are cool, you may end up making it really, maybe not even difficult to play your character. It's difficult to maximize all the cool shit you can do.
Yeah. You may really water your build down a lot. Cool. So there's that. It has pointed out, first of all, like, I mean, we've got a decent amount of things here. Yeah. We actually managed to get its base class features done. We're just missing gear, which is going to be a thing that we have to, like, really go over.
Yeah, we're going to have to, like, backfill that once we figure out how gear is going to work for us.
That is a whole motherfucker. There's some class, like, ideas, just like your tinkerers and the scavengers and stuff, that I don't think we can put together until we figure out gear.
I think you're probably right about that.
Which is fine. We don't have to get all of them right now. I think we just need to get... I think... We have like 20-ish minutes. Next session, I think we should focus on getting as many ideas for classes down as we can.
Okay.
And... Because we have a list of ideas of classes, but since we're kind of taking the semi-new approach... I think we'll want to get down, like... Let's define what we consider a full idea without having it all fleshed out. We should probably give the Brute a description as well.
Yeah. Other than, it does what it says on the tin, guys. Because it obviously is more than that.
Where did I put that other one? Oh, I didn't have one. Whale shit. I'll just grab this here. This will be class 2. Okay. Name. We need a name. It doesn't have to be the permanent name, but it will need a name.
Right, name.
You
Makes
can't
sense.
just call it thingy, right?
Yeah, can't have a thing without a name. I mean, you can, but then it doesn't make sense and it's hard to reference it later when we're working on it if we don't have a good name for it.
Obviously, we don't need to allocate all of its skills right away.
Yeah.
What I think we need to figure out is primary, secondary, tertiary, right? For the skills.
We need to figure out who's your daddy and what does he do. Yes.
Yeah. Primary, secondary, tertiary for skills. For skill buckets. Because if we just say, oh, we don't have to worry about skills, then it's like, I mean, we're still leaving it on the table, like, okay, but that's part of the concept. Which thing is it leaning into? Which does it not give a fuck about?
Yeah.
Even if secondary and tertiary are tied, like the Brute.
Right.
Okay.
And I mean, we went 6-2-2 on this one. And if we're doing a split of 10, there's obviously the way we can do 7-2-1. We can do 5, which I think 7-2-1 is insane. But we can do 5-3-2. We can do 4-3-3. There's lots of different ways you can break it down.
It gives us a lot of versatility there.
Yeah.
And then if people fucking hate it and they want to homebrew it, it's got a formula. It just is, as long as it's 10 points, do whatever. Or whatever we end up getting to as far as the point total.
Yeah.
Which so far, 10 looks okay, but it's not been played. So.
Yeah, we don't know.
We
might end up going 7-2-1. Who knows? It's friggin' wild.
Stamina, we don't need to know how much bonus stamina they have.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't.
No.
Class features. This is, I think, where it gets weird, because I think we need... We can't build out the entire class features, because that's most of the class, right? That'll take the whole session.
Yeah.
But I think we need to have... Coming back to this fucking word again, we need to have, like, 2 ideas for their features. And I think that's going to be... How do we define that? A sentence.
Okay. I like
One sentence of what this does. It doesn't have to be super refined. It doesn't have to draw on exact mechanic names and that kind of thing. Just like, what do we want it to do?
Yeah, just conceptually what we think this class does.
Yes. So, for example, for those at home and whoever else wants to hear it, let's say if we picked up, if we were to do this for the Fury mechanic we haven't named properly, then it would be enters a battle rage, becomes harder to kill, deals more damage.
Right.
You know? And then if we... Which is not one sentence. It's like a weird, disjointed sentence. But you get what I mean. Like
yeah, it's a phrase, it's a whatever. It's one line.
One or two lines. Yeah.
It's not a paragraph, but it's not, 3 words.
Yeah, it'd be, I guess, more accurate would be like, uses humor pack to enter battle rage and become the Juggernaut bitch.
Yeah, the Juggernaut bitch. Oh, I'm the Juggernaut.
That was part of... So, for the blurb, the fucking helmet that I was thinking of, is I was like, man, I can imagine there being a couple of different paths to this where, like, if this... I don't know, if this is some, like, organized... like specialty like unit or whatever that they come out of, that like when you get like your fucking Juggernaut helmet is how you know that you're like officially there. Because like, look, dude, you can take some of these other shots where like all your body armor and shit sits, but like this motherfucker needs to be protected very well, and it's heavy as shit because you're gonna be all hulked out on drugs.
So it's one of those things that's like, listen, until I hit this pack, I'm not putting this on my head. Do you know the neck strain I'm under with this thing on?
Right.
When we pop this, it's fine, but like, dude, this is heavy.
But yeah, we don't have to do that. That was just like part of the thought process of like why they had the thing ping off his helmet, and he was like,
I thought that was funny though.
But you could go.
But yeah, whatever your helmet, however your helmet is, obviously that's going to be up to the player as well. Like, oh yeah, you get a cool helmet thing, put it on. What's it going to be? This goes in when we get into gear as well,
Yeah.
Because we need to flush our gear out better.
But yeah, sorry, shit. Yeah, a couple of lines. I think that would work for the Fury mechanic. And I think if we get about 2 abilities, at least 2, we can do more. I'm fine with if we end up going, okay, I imagine these 3 features or whatever. That's fine, as long as we have at least 2.
Okay. So,
at least 2 features. I probably should put this in the base thing, but it's fine. Describe, I need to scroll down more. In 1 or 2 lines each. What are they supposed to do? And yeah, narrative descriptions or whatever else I think works really well. I tend to work really good off of that if someone can like paint a picture for me of like how you see it looking, and then go, oh, so we want to try to build that mechanically, which is the same kind of shit I do in Pathfinder, right?
Right, yeah. We're trying to do top-down design, basically, where we have a concept and we want to build the mechanics around the concept.
Yeah. For like, you know what I mean. So, I think next session we should try to get as complete a list of classes as we can.
Okay, I like that.
And we could use the old list for inspiration, obviously, because some of that stuff's still good. There's still things on there that we obviously want to use. Yeah. But I definitely want to not feel beholden to that, so we can do weird shit.
Well, and I think we have our brute as a class, right? And I like that. It used to be like a subset of the soldier class, but I think having brute as its standalone class is fine. But I still think we should have something like a soldier, like a sharpshooter, like a whatever. It doesn't have to be that, but that is its own thing, and that's fine being separate things instead of it being off of where they were superclass and subclass.
And I also think as we go along through this stuff, like if we think of something and go, man, that sounds a lot like this other thing. Okay, cool. We know what a subclass of that's going to be.
Right, yeah, that's fine.
We can even still, in world or whatever, like kind of use the old superclasses as just like how people refer to like groups of, like a brute might still be, people call you a soldier because it's usually their background.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not
Generally
necessarily your
speaking, those
class.
guys were soldiers, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that too. And really, again, I'm all about that flexibility level that we have right now, where we can be flexible and change and not beholden to something, because as we go through this, obviously our ideas of what we want and what we've already built aren't going to mesh with our old ideas necessarily, because as we go, everything's different. And so we need to be good with changing that. And I think that the old system we had was just a little too boxed in. And so starting from scratch is fine. I'm just building it out.
Yeah, we gave ourselves the limits, obviously, for a reason, but now that we're, like, fleshing stuff out, it's like, okay, we don't need to box ourselves in so much. We got a bit of more of a hang on this, but cool. I think that's on the docket for next. We definitely don't have time to do it tonight, so I say we wrap a little early. And
It's Halloween. Go watch scary movies.
Yeah, exactly.
Or do whatever you do on Halloween. I don't know. What's the night before Christmas? I don't care.
We'll be back next week with more Into the Storm.
And in the meantime, if you'd like, we have a free to join Discord where you can talk about our TTRPG stuff. We're always down to chat about that. We can also talk about the regular game. Into the Storm discussion is there. We've got memes. We've got community share stuff. We've got whatever. We also have a wonderful Patreon if you want to join that. We have multiple tiers, one of which you can get Pandas Don't Sleep to This podcast, which just came out. The October one just came out today, right, buddy?
Yeah.
Saw you posted. Okay, I'm going to have to listen to that too. There's that. And then we've got Hangouts that we do monthly, which are a lot of fun. And then also, we have every social media, and then YouTube. All the video replays get posted on Monday.
Yeah. As long as YouTube doesn't fuck me over.
Yeah, that's true. They're all in playlists. They're cool. I will always recommend to go watch our one shot that was actually more than a one shot, but it was great.
It was a double barrel.
Goat one shot was dope. It was
a double tap. I think that's what we agreed. If it's a one shot that takes 2 sessions, it's a double tap.
Yeah.
Yeah.